It's one of the hard-fought wins, but we'll take it, and 29 good points to put on the championship table, so pretty happy. I think everybody is going to try and chase everybody down to try and get the trophy. I mean, I don't feel especially hunted, and it's more hunting the big trophy. I mean, everybody want to have a race win or be on the podium and ultimately championship winner. So I'm just super excited that the championship have come to the next level in terms of competitiveness, and still being able to come out on front. It's nice winning. No discussion about this.
Well, EKS got a little early fun track time here in Portugal, putting the classic Quattro through its paces, and it's they who are in the driving seat so far this season. It's business as usual for Ekstrom, top with 29 points, and that stellar performance by Scheider sees him go second. After round one, and with the top 6 places taken by drivers in 5 different teams, it would take a brave person to predict a champion at this point. Joint leaders at the top of the team's championship after Barcelona. The new PSRX outfit will be happy with their debut, but how will that radiator cope in the potential mud of Portugal? Lessons will have been learned from Spain. Let's see who's in the groove for Portugal. High altitude and high hopes fill the heads of the elite rallycross drivers on the Montalegre slopes. It's worth noting a couple of pertinent facts. Matthias Ekstrom has reached a final at every WRX track he's competed at, except here in Portugal. And Portugal is also the last place that 2-time champion Petter Solberg won a round, over a year ago now. It was here last campaign that Solberg sledgehammered his way past his now teammate Kristoffersen to take his last victory. Both will be wanting to take the new team's first win, and both have the stats to make that happen. Amazingly, both drivers qualify for the semis 97% of the time. Solberg has the better stats from there onwards, remarkably winning almost a quarter of the events he's entered in WRX. A mixed bag for MJP Racing Team Austria in Spain, with Kevin Eriksson finishing 13th and just outside the semis. But Scheider's second place means they now know the car is fast enough to win, and the youngster Eriksson has the talent to mix it with the new boy Scheider. The drivers have competed in relatively few events in their WRX careers. To date, they've reached 2 finals each, 2 podiums for Eriksson and 1 for Scheider. And who can forget that amazing victory for Eriksson last season in Estering?
Well, still feels amazing, I have to say. So we did not expect anything. Arriving in Barcelona, we had like just a half a day of rolling the car before, and it was a previous year car, so for me it was just everything new, and without any expectations we arrived there, and then it developed just amazingly throughout the weekend. And yeah, finishing on the podium, hunting the world champion, for sure was an amazing feeling. Right now for the Portugal race I have a new car, and the 2017 car, so I'm still trying to understand the track right now, but I have to say it is a new challenge, and I take the challenge, and for sure I try to give my best. This is no question. I just said it yesterday, in the past I was dreaming about becoming a rock star, and I did not become a rock star, I became a race driver. But being here in that paddock with such cool cars, with cool dudes, with cool racing, I feel a bit in between. So I think the direction is right, and that's why I'm so happy about it. It's just cool to drive a 600 horsepower pulled car, and with so many cool guys in the paddock, and racing is tough and driving is racing, and that's why I'm like it.
Team Starter, a new outfit for 2017. There was tension in the winter as both their drivers defected from Team Austria to join Manfred Stoll's starred setup. It would have been painful for Timur Timizyanov and Yanis Balmanis watching their former team do so well last time, and they'll be wanting to make a point here in Portugal.
For me it's no problem. It's me, the mechanics and engineers were still friends, and it's nice to talk with them and see what they have developed and how we are developing. So yeah, maybe from some other point there's not so nice relationship, but still it's yeah, we are in racing family, and everybody know each other, so it's nice to be here around. And yeah, one more team start for this year. It's just brilliant for rallycross. We are a new team and still developing the car. It's my aim is to be higher in position than in Barcelona, so higher than P15. I really hope for the semi-finals, and everything can happen here, so it's just rallycross.
Portugal, the fantastic Montalegre circuit, 945 metres long, 1,050 with the Joker lap, 60% asphalt, 40% dirt, and this track's unique because it starts with the tar and then switches to the dirt. We ride on board with Solberg and we're using a gimbal for this onboard, so you'll get to see just how high the curbs are at this wonderfully challenging mountaintop circuit. There's Solberg on the handbrake, takes the Joker lap round the outside, comes in now, flicks the car, and look at this, you can see the weight transfer beautifully, clips the curb on the right, up and over the crest. This corner's very quick, balance the car, braking onto the gravel, and here the ruts combined with the curbs will mean that the angles of the cars will get steeper and steeper as we see Solberg as sideways as you can get a World Rallycross car into the last sequence of corners. He gets it straight early on the gas, up between the arm coat, and now it's just the final left and right and over the finish line. Coming up, we've got highlights of the action from qualifying 1 and 2, the best of the action from qualifying 3, on to Q4, and only the top 12 qualify. Only the top 3 will go through from each of the live World RX Supercar semi-finals. Next, we're on to our first Super 1600 final of the year for Euro RX, and then the big one, the World RX Supercar final live. The relentless pace of development in World RX had continued between Barcelona and Portugal, with a number of teams sporting upgrades and hoping it would make a difference to their ultimate pace. The first corner Joker at Montalegre provides some exciting moments every year, and the very first race proved the same in 2017. Heikkinen and Timozianov going side by side at the exit, but ultimately holding each other up and leaving Ericsson to take the win. Andreas Backrud was on a flyer and looking likely to go top of the timesheets, but made the ultimate rallycross mistake, forgetting to take his Joker lap.
Struggled with some radio connections here and frequencies, and I had this feeling going down the straight like, oh damn, I feel this is the time to Joker, but but for some reason I carried on. But my spotter Dave told me on the radio to Joker, but the frequency wasn't working and I didn't get it on my ear, so I trusted more on him than on my stomach feeling, which in another way I need to change that. But I've been in this position before. We saw Sweden last year, dead last, Barcelona last a couple of weeks ago, dead last, so I can do it again.
Timmy Hansen passed Ken Block in a lap 1 Joker fight in his race. Local driver Santos then made a mistake and found himself stranded in the gravel, all of which released Ekstrom to take the win despite nudging the barriers. Solberg and Loeb resumed their old rivalry, the Peugeot running a new spec rear wing which looked to be adding to the 208 performance, Loeb finishing just behind Solberg. However, neither of the motorsport legends could hold a candle to Solberg's new teammate. VW had been testing the car to perfect their starts in Spain, and the work looked like it had paid off when Kristoffersen took the lead at turn 1. But it wasn't just an impressive start. Kristoffersen set 3 new fastest laps in one 4-lap race to win Q1.
Car is really quick. We could see in the practice that it was really quick, and we did some small adjustments. I discussed a bit with Petter, and we could take advantage, both of us, from a bit from the tarmac and a bit from the gravel. And I was, trying to adapt a bit for the gravel, and the car with new tires in the Q1 was amazingly quick.
Backward's disastrous day continued with a puncture in Q2, leaving the young Norwegian with a mountain to climb if he's to make the semi-finals. Toppy Heikkinen beat Timmy Hansen and Guy Wilkes to a first-lap Joker in their encounter, and try as he might, Timmy couldn't seem to find a way past. That was until lap 3, when he made a very brave move up the inside. In the final race of day 1, PSRX Volkswagen Sweden teammates Kristoffersen and Solberg split their strategy. Solberg heading straight to the Joker and Kristoffersen the main lap. The former and the current world champions came together at the Joker lap exit, making it clear that even early in the season, no quarter will be given.
Yeah, I think we both lost 6, 7 tenths there in the corner, that we actually could, I went tight in and it came in and pushing all around, and but I would never have done that. I would stay behind, get a very good time, and try to beat the 2 other guys who went in the main laps.
Either you decide that you're on the inside, you let the guy run wide that he has to lift, or you go racing as I wish to race. Then you leave the guy space that he can stay alive, and see if he will lift or if he will stay. And he stayed on the gas, and we were fully sideways around there, so it was quite entertaining for a while.
Of course, it's strange, you know. Ekstrom is a hard driver, you know. He's a smart driver, you know, coming from DTM. You know, they have a lot of experience with things like this, and that's how it is.
The untouchable Kristoffersen, along with Loeb, jokered on the final lap. Kristoffersen came out with a lead which would see him win Q2. Loeb was pipped by Solberg, but managed to shut the door on Ekstrom at the high-speed merge. A brilliant performance then by Johan Kristoffersen, for the first time in his career winning both Q1 and Q2. Petter Solberg, his teammate, is P2 overnight. Sebastian Loeb, Kevin Eriksson, Matthias Ekstrom, Kevin Hansen, Timmers Janov and Baumanis are your top 8. Currently just making the semi-finals, Scheider, Nittisch, Timmy Hansen and Niklas Gronholm. Just missing out are Heikkinen, Wilkes and Ken Block. Missing out by a mile, Andreas Backerud is down in P20. Will he get lucky tomorrow?
So this is the paddock, Guy Wilkes' car being prepared before qualifying 1, and here is Guy. If we can just jump in, Guy. Guy, first of all, what a great result for you straight off the bat in Barcelona. It's amazing.
Not necessarily unexpected, but I mean, it was a big effort from the guys in the team. I mean, we had 5 weeks to basically buy a car, rebuild the car, get to Barcelona and compete. So it was amazing really to get to 7th and stand on reserve for the final. That's how close we were to getting the final in our first event. Amazing.
And here in Portugal, what do you think is the main challenge?
Actually, here Portugal, usually it's weather and rain, but that's the most consistent thing you have to deal with is actually altitude, and that's an engine issue. So actually you caught me at the right time, because I'm just standing with Frank, my friend Frank, who looks after my engine. So take it away, Frank. I'll leave you with him.
Okay, thanks, Guy. So Frank, tell us why altitude affects the engine performance so much.
But it's just like a normal person. On high altitude, the air is much thinner, so we're struggling to get air into the engine. And the turbo is a restricted one with a 45mm restrictor, and it can't just take as much air as it needs. So we have to control how much air we get into the engine and get out, because otherwise we would just like kill the turbo. So that's the problem we have.
And how can you monitor that? And I guess it's the same for everyone else in the paddock.
Yeah, we're allowed to have a certain amount of sensors, so we can see the pressure after the restrictor, we can see the pressure in the engine, and we can see the pressure in the exhaust. And all that has to be a balance. And on normal tracks, like, it's a balance, but here we have a huge issue with trying to get the air in. And if we don't adjust it, the turbo will over-rev and we will kill it instantly.
So as well as killing the turbo, what other sort of areas do you have to change in the engine and the mapping and all the data that you have on your computer?
It's just like how the anti-lag is working, the aggressiveness of it, and that's changed on all the track. But here, when we have like less power and everything on the high altitude, it's more crucial to have the right points in it.
And give us a sense of how much of a struggle it is compared to all the factory teams, and how good a result it was to get 7th in Barcelona.
Well, I know this car from previous year. We've been working with it for like several years, and we haven't built the data. So it was more or less getting the mapping to get what Guy Wilkes want to have when he's driving, to get him to get it in the foot, and he can come out and say, like, I'm the owner of the car, and it's do what I want to have it.
Okay, and you hopefully will have a good weekend this weekend. Thanks very much, Frank.
Yeah, we will have for sure. Thank you very much.
This is the championship format facing all world drivers. During the season, there will be 12 rounds of competition across the planet. At each round, each driver will compete in 4 timed qualifying sessions, which consist of 5-car races. Only the top 12 qualify to the semi-finals. From the 6-car semis, top 3 go through, bottom 3 are eliminated. In the final, it's a straight fight to the finish, with the top drivers taking their place on the podium. More RX education later in the show. My name's Andrew Coley. Alongside me this weekend, Andrew Jordan, British touring car and, of course, World RX driver. Reporting from the paddock and the pre-grid, Neil Cole. Johan Kristoffersson sitting at the top of the table ahead of Q3 with his teammate Solberg behind him. Loeb, Kevin Eriksson, Ekström, Kevin Hansen, Timosjanov and Baumanis. Scheider, Nittisch, Timmy Hansen, Niklas Gronholm currently inside. Heikkinen, Wilks, Ken Block with a bit of work to do. Andreas Backrud needs a miracle. He's P20 after Q2. What can he do? On to the early races of Q3, and that man Backrud was in the first one. He needed a good start, he got it, he checked out front and did all he can do, which is set the best time he possibly could. The track had been watered, there was a lot of gravel on it. Would it be enough? Race 2, look at Guy Wilks on the inside here, up the inside of De Bourg after not getting the best start. De Bourg had left a tiny door open. Wilks didn't need asking twice. When the Joker laps finished, Wilks was still in front. Good drive by the Englishman. First of our 5 car encounters, it is race 3 of Q3. Yannis Baumanis on the inside, Ken Block next to him, Timmy Hansen, Rennie Munich and Topi Heikkinen. All of these guys on brand new tyres. Baumanis was 8th after Q2. I stood with his dad during morning warm-up this morning on top of race control, and he said that Yannis had got his Joker lap strategy slightly wrong yesterday, which cost him some time. Him and Timmer, I think they were 7th, or no, 4th and 11th in each of the 2 qualifying sessions, which has seen them P7 and P8. So it's a good start for the start cars. Will they get a good start now? It's a long old hold. Dust flying up over on Topi Heikkinen side of the grid. Not the best start for Baumanis. He's going to get swallowed up by the pack on the way down. Ken Block shuts the door on Baumanis. Heikkinen into the side of Block. Hansen looked like he was going to head in there, but decided not to. Timmy Hansen gone to the Joker lap. Rennie Munich's gone behind him. I wonder if Timmy had looked and saw the pack up the inside.
Yeah, I'm really surprised at Heikkinen going to the Joker there. He did all the hard work. He closed them down after getting the best start. I would have thought you'd have gone to the Joker because you were never really going to go from the very outside in such an equal start to get it.
Do you think Heikkinen should have just shot it down?
In my opinion, I'd have gone there and got into some clear air because you'd have gone in there as the lead car.
The thing about this race as well, I mean, yesterday they were in a race with Santos, some of these guys. Santos didn't Joker on the first lap. 3 guys went, they ended up getting held up. But if you look at this field, they're all pretty quick. Munich, to me, his pace has gone up a bit this year as well, so you could risk an early Joker and know you're not going to come out in traffic.
Yeah, absolutely. It's easy to have a plan before the start. We're going to Joker on this lap and do this. You need to see what the start goes like, and that was a fairly equal start. Toppy got the best start, but Hansen were in the back of him and he's done his Joker, so really Timmy's in a very, very strong position. But Baumanis has been going very well this weekend, hasn't he? He's had a very good pace. He was consistent yesterday, as you say. Didn't quite get the tactics spot on, but this Peugeot looks very quick. Coming to this event for my first one this year, I've been really surprised at how radical all the bodywork looks. The Peugeot looks so cool.
Yeah, you had a good time wandering around the paddock yesterday. We might have a good race on our hands now. Look for Hansen and Heikkinen in 3rd and 4th. Hansen passed Heikkinen yesterday. Heikkinen's not joking. Timmy's now being held up, and this is compromising him because he's done the Joker. He went up the inside of Heikkinen on the left-hand side at the very next corner. I don't think he's going to be brave enough this time. He's not near enough this time.
Timmy's the fastest car on track, so he's had that clear air. He's going to be hoping now that Toppy, well, he will, because it will be coming on to the last lap, so that's going to free him up. Now, but I would think he's getting held up a little bit here, especially with the dust being thrown in. You can't necessarily commit to your line as much when there's a car right in front of you.
I'm not sure Baumanis is far enough in front, though. 38.999. We saw a 37 yesterday from Kristoffersson, so some quick quickest out of the day so far by Hansen. Is the track getting faster? Watch for the Joker laps. Here we go. Baumanis goes in. Ken Block goes in. Baumanis a little bit defensive on the turn in. Round the inside, Timmy Hansen, tidily done, moves out, shuts the door. Baumanis makes it to P2. It's going to be close between Heikkinen in the background and Munich. But from the commentary tradition, I can see that Heikkinen has slotted out into P4. So good job by Timmy, but Andrew, I think he could have been quicker without being behind Heikkinen for a lap.
Yeah, but saying that, he didn't actually lose much on lap 3 when he was right behind Toppy compared to the previous lap. He's been very consistent within a 10th over his clear laps, but it's been textbook by Hansen, so.
2:42.985, bottom of your screen is the target time by Andreas Backrud. It was set in the first race when there was more gravel on the track. And Timmy only goes 4/10 faster, so it's good for Backrud, but I still think he's going to need a few people to have problems if he's to make it to the semis. Timmy Hansen takes that one. Fastest so far in Q3. Baumanis in second, another good run for him. Ken Block, Toby Heikkinen, Rennie Munich. There's where they slide in. So Bakker, it is still P2. Wilkes drops to P5. That might well be enough to see him up into the semis, though. Heikkinen into 6th, Munich into 7th.
Let's watch the Audi on the outside. So you can't see, he's trying to get in. Timmy Hansen's gone flying past into the Joker. Couldn't quite see where Toppy was then trying to get across. A bit of argy-bargy with Baumanis there, but that was good, hard racing. But Timmy Hansen was the one to watch. He was on a mission. Car speed looked really, really good. Very neat and tidy as always, but this is it, look, clearly in front. They carry a bit of extra speed off the Joker lap, but Timmy played it perfectly in that one.
Baumanis did well down in turn 1 as well. Managed to get up the inside of Ken Block to lead on the standard lap, and that left him P2 at the end of that one. Getting towards the sharp end of Q3 now, on to race 4. On the inside, Matthias Ekstrom, the world champion. Kevin Hansen next to him. Reinis Nitish in the 3rd EKS car, going up against that 3rd Peugeot. Timo Scheider, P2 in Barcelona, and the improving Niklas Gronholm. Interesting tyres there for Matthias Ekstrom. 1 new tyre on the front left. We'll have a look at that in a minute. New tyres for everybody on the outside of the grid. They'll all be hoping to out-drag everyone else down to the Joker lap. Monster Energy girls are headed off the grid, and the drivers will now be eyes on the lights, clunking the cars into gear and building up towards that 600 brake horsepower launch. There are the start lights. Top right, the marshal walks across the grid. You can hear the gear get clunked in as he gives a thumbs up to the drivers. Green flag at the back, ready to race, lights on, revs up, here we go. Green light, good start on the outside, good start for Ekstrom too, so Ekstrom and Nitish with a great start. They're going to shut the door on Kevin Hansen. Kevin Hansen slots in behind Scheider. Nitish goes into the Joker lap. I reckon that's been discussed by him and Ekstrom. Nitish going to push him wide. Gronholm goes up the inside. Scheider's lost out big time here. Scheider has lost out and is stuck behind Gronholm, but Reinis Nitish did well there. And split strategy from the EKS cars.
Yeah, the two Audis got a really equal start on board with Gronholm behind Nitish. Look at the gravel being kicked up. Uses the curb, glides over that, watch those markers. You can see Nitish flicking the brakes. That would be his left foot just dabbing the brake to help get the car turned. But with Ekstrom going for a new left front, some of them have gone for four new tyres to try and get a good time, obviously, with the increased grip. But Ekstrom will be looking to save some tyres for later on, for maybe Q4, the semi-finals and the final. And the left front's doing a lot of the work here. I know Matthias hates understeer, so if you were going to try and point the front of the car and get it turning, you need to place that new tyre on the left front. So he's looking at the long game here to save some tyres when it matters later on.
Do you think he'll try and put maybe one more new front left on for Q4 and then a pair for the semis?
I think you'd see how you are after Q3. If you need a good time in Q4, then you might put another left front on, and then you probably left with 2, depending on how they used their other ones for maybe the left side of the car. But you play that a little bit by ear. On a little Scheider. You could see it was your first time here yesterday as we were talking about Guy Wilkes. Very tricky to learn the circuit, but he got on the pace very quickly. He flicks it in there, a little bit of handbrake to get the car turned. Kevin Hansen's going well with fast lap of the day, 38.7, so we're about 8 tenths off where we were yesterday by Ekstrom. But Kevin Hansen's doing a solid job, as he has done all year so far in all the qualifying, all the finals. He's just there or thereabouts, doing a very solid job.
Interesting difference in style between Ekstrom and Hansen up at the front. Here's Ekstrom. Ekstrom was actually more sideways than I would expect. And you said to me, you sat with him in testing, Andrew, when you've driven his car, and you said he's mega aggressive on the gravel, more aggressive than you expected him to be.
Aggressive in the sense of having the car out of shape and having that confidence that the car's moving. I think this circuit on the gravel sections, you can't be too neat and tidy because of the transitions and the change of direction. You've got to use the car's momentum, which I would say for someone, coming from circuit racing, Ekstrom's obviously hugely experienced in this, but for Scheider, that takes a bit of getting used to. Nitish has done a really good job there, hasn't he? He's right on the tail of Ekstrom.
So those two guys, remember, Nitish and Kevin Hansen, both independent entries, but in third cars within the teams.
Nitish's fastest lap is only a tenth exactly off Ekstrom's. That's a really, really good effort.
Well, there's only about a tenth between them, so very well done, Reinis Nitish. Spoke to his dad last night as well. Said they were pretty happy with things. They said he felt Nitish needed to be a little bit more aggressive in terms of his racing. Ekstrom over the line, what does he do? 2:41.9, nearly 6 tenths faster. So who else has gone quick? 2:42.4 for Nitish. That puts him in front of Hansen, drops Timmy Hansen down to P3. There's the official result. Top 2, great job there by EKS with their lead car and their third car. Then Kevin Hansen, Gronholm and Scheider. and they go to the top of the table. So Baccarat still up there. He's the man we're watching, trying to claw his way back up towards the semi-finals.
Quickest time so far there for Matthias. The tyre strategy was interesting. One new tyre front left.
Yeah, tyre strategy at this stage of the race, it's very important because we have to look forward as well for the semis and the final. But yeah, happy how it worked out. We have both Audis controlling the race, so very happy with the result. Obviously.
Well done, thank you.
Well, fans enjoyed that one. We can take a look back at some of the action from the race. This was a very even start, and Andrew, I suspect a discussion here on tactics, although Nitish looked like he might go for the inside lap.
Yeah, I think he'd committed down there. You could see when the cars on the inside, they dipped on the brakes, he carried on. Gronholm nearly touched it at the inside there. Scheider lost out a little bit. But Hansen was going with Ekstrom. And as you heard from his team, they're playing the long game with tyre strategy. Close on the merge, really good job by Nitish to be pushing Ekstrom that hard come end of the race.
Nicely done by Ekstrom with Nitish right behind him. Let's take a look at one of our fantastic new head-to-head graphics. This time is the teammates Johan Kristoffersson and Petter Solberg. This, of course, is their stats for this season so far. So as the season goes on, you're going to see this develop. They've met 5 times. That includes qualifying races, semi-finals, finals. At the minute, the yellow side is Johan Kristoffersson, so he's taken 60% of the wins. So the 5, that means he's taken 3 to the 2. 1 semi-win for Johan, 4 qualifying race wins for him as well. No final wins for either of them as yet. Time for the last race of Q3. On the inside, Johan Kristoffersson and Petter Solberg. They split their strategy yesterday on the Joker lap on the first lap. Will they do the same today? Overnight, P1 and P2. Kevin Eriksson next. Timizyanov and Sebastian Loeb on the outside, who's in P3 overnight. Interesting on the tyres, Kristoffersson 4 new, Solberg only new on the outside, everybody else on used. Kristoffersson saying to me last night, whilst two-wheeling a quad bike down the straight, well, after he two-wheeled the quad bike down the straight, that he was really hoping for a good day today with no problems. That's that strange feeling of everything going perfectly on day 1 and desperately hoping it's going to continue that way on day 2. I have to say the pace of the VWs for the other teams yesterday was looking ominous. Let's see if they've still got that incredible pace today. Green flag up, revs up. Pretty even start by the VW. Solberg looks like it might adjust Kristoffersson. Eriksson moves in behind those two. Loeb's going to go to the inside lap. Didn't get a good enough run. They've done exactly what they did yesterday. Solberg goes to the Joker lap. Kristoffersson goes to the standard lap. Timizyanov has gone with Solberg, and Loeb with a late decision there not to go to the Joker.
As we saw yesterday a couple of times, once you're on the outside, you can get boxed in and have to go to the Joker. So Loeb did a good job to tuck out of that and not get bottled up. But Solberg just jumped Kristoffersson. They were using different start strategies. We were talking to them yesterday on different boost and RPM levels, and he definitely got the better of the 2 starts there.
Oh, 2 bollards on the inside there for me. Who are we riding with? I think it was Loeb, I think. Yeah, so Loeb's hit 2 on the inside. That might see him get a 5-second penalty. Or whereas it's the first, he might get just a warning for it.
But again, we've seen Kristoffersson's first lap is 38.2. It's miles quicker than anyone. I don't know what he's doing on his first lap. Yesterday we saw he was doing 37.8, 37.9 on his first lap, which was a second quicker than anyone off the start. So I don't know what he's doing, if he's just attacking it more in the first lap, but that's where he's making up a lot of his time.
Incredible confidence to jump in the car and do that on the outlap, because he had this discussion with VW about what he wanted to do with his start mapping after Barcelona. He had a disaster, but off on the inside, Eriksson and Loeb. Kevin Eriksson and Sebastian Loeb are both off on the inside in the gravel. Loeb has to go to reverse. We rarely see that. So Loeb and Eriksson having an absolute disaster here. Eriksson is still standstill, so we didn't see what happened with that. Maybe we can see from Loeb's onboard at some point. We'll try and find it later on, but no such problems for Kristoffersson, who's still on a flyer out front. Let's wait and see as he comes back round if Eriksson is still stuck in the gravel. Eriksson was P4 overnight. Shocker.
Yeah, I don't know if that held up Petter as well. He dumped a bit of time on his last lap. We didn't quite see what happened, but Solberg was coming through. It looks like Eriksson's got, he has got going. That's gutting for him because he's been on form yesterday. But Kristoffersson just looks super, super special at the minute. He's obviously really in a good place in his head, happy with the car. his lap times all 3 lap times have been quicker than Ekstrom in the previous heat.
Ericsson on a go zone. I think if he gets lapped, he'll get a DNF anyway, and he's pulling up at the side of the Joker lap. Is he letting everybody go and then getting carry on?
Has Kristoffersson jokered, or have we missed that?
I think Andrew Jordan's right. Kristoffersson, we don't think has jokered.
I don't think I saw him go in there, if I'm honest.
Well, the timing screen is not showing the Joker lap for Kristoffersson. Kristoffersson has forgotten to Joker. We think Kristoffersson has forgotten to Joker. Wait for the checker flag. This is your overnight leader. The checker flag is flying. Kristoffersson comes over the line and he has forgotten to Joker. Tommy Kristoffersson is just to our right in the commentary position. There's a discussion going on now, shaking the head. I don't believe it. I do not believe it. Well, here's the result of a very surprising final race in Q3. Solberg taking it with a 2:40.5, and that is fastest in Q3. Timizyanov in P2. Sebastian Loeb 15 seconds almost off Solberg, having had a trip in the gravel trap. Kevin Eriksson with a DNF thanks to that same excursion. Johan Kristoffersson with a 30-second penalty, and whoosh, they just fly off the bottom of the screen. Solberg Q3 winner. I think that will see him go at top. And we're going to try and untangle that mess, Andrew Jordan. Wow.
Yeah, you can see on board with Loeb, 2 people. Solberg led into the Joker. He ducked out of that. He didn't want anything to do with being bottled up there. Kristoffersson, as we've seen all weekend, lap 1, super special in the zone this weekend. We don't quite know what happened with him missing his Joker, but then there was a coming together. Solberg was the first car to take the Joker there. Loeb into the back of Ericsson. I don't know if Ericsson had a problem or if he got it stuck on the handbrake. Look, you see, he suddenly stops mid-corner, so although it looks like Loeb got into him, but Solberg all the way to the flag, gutting for Kristoffersson.
Kristoffersson with that 30-second penalty. I can't believe it. Both him and Bakker are missing a Joker lap in the same weekend. Well, here are the standings then after Q3. Kristoffersson looking like to be fair, P2's not bad when you've had a 30-second penalty just now, but Solberg goes to the top of the standings. Kristoffersson still in second thanks to that double win of Q1 and Q2 yesterday. World champion Ekstrom is third. He moves up to there. Sebastian Loeb will have moved down thanks to that. Timizyanov and Baumanis are up from P7 and P8. That is fantastic for start. Kevin Hansen, Rainy Snitich, the 2 third-car drivers are right up there. Loeb and Eriksson have dropped down from P3 and P4 to 9 and 10 thanks to the contact between them. Scheider is just inside. At the minute, Wilkes is still missing out, Ken Block and Heikkinen, but where is Andreas Bakkerud? P18. I think he's gone. Some wonderful slow-motion pictures for us to have a look at of these incredibly big curbs in Portugal. Andrew Jordan, Timizyanov, our first analysis.
It comes into shot with quite a lot of understeer, doesn't it? Then the front grips and the rear takes over into oversteer, but Timizyanov on good form, probably using the handbrake a little bit to get the car transitioning through these big change directions over the big curbs. Solberg here, in his usual flamboyant style, sets the car up nicely past the markers. You don't want to clip those, you get a penalty for that. The suspension rides it so nicely. There's big bumps, but the car just sits very stable.
And Solberg, where we saw Timizyanov come in with a lock on and then go to oversteer, Solberg, he's barely using 10 degrees a lot, even with the transition.
That's probably because he set the car up so much early, probably with a bit of handbrake. When we've seen on board with Petter, is always just tweaking on that handbrake to get the car turned. René Munich here on the tarmac, you can see it loading up. The inside wheel starts to shake as it goes over that curb, but the suspension is always developing on these cars, and if you walk around and see how big these curbs are and how little it upsets the car, it's astonishing really.
Rear wheel, you can see unloading there as he comes in. And this corner here at the bottom, Kevin and Timmy Hansen were telling me drivers take varying amounts of curb. In Munich, not taking that much and still launching it just onto 2 wheels.
Sometimes you're actually better off using more because it unsettles the car a little bit less. Kevin Hansen with a little bit of understeer on entry. You can see very close to the markers, quite a lot of diagonal pitch onto the outside front, a lot of steering lock on there. That to me looks quite a bit of understeer, but I know that the Peugeot guys and Hansen quite like a little bit of understeer in the car.
They're so minimal with their inputs, aren't they? If you look at them, it's tidy well. Kevin said to me yesterday he doesn't use much curb at the bottom of the hill here, and true to his word, he's not on the curb. Nice to see as they swap onto the gravel. Important to get the line right there, of course, because the grip drops off in the middle of the corner, and that's right in the bottom of a dip as well, which isn't quite so clear.
Backward, you can see the rear wheel lock, so he's got on the handbrake early to get the car turned. He used a bit of the curb. The car always looks quite soft to me, so it rides the curve very well. See how it reacts when it lands. Soaks all that curve, but you can see it squatting down as on the throttle, getting very good traction, and then you'll see the car rotate. The inside rear comes up as the car diagonally pitched out to the outside front. Backward using a load of the curve. Look at the front bumper, takes an absolute batter in there.
Complete opposite from Kevin Hansen. We saw literally skirting around the bottom of the curb. Backwards almost ditch hooking the top of it. Ekstrom.
Using a lot there, launched it, but again, settles it very well. I always think more curb looks better because you get the car airborne. Flicks it to the right, a little bit of diagonal pitch again, over the curb, using only a little bit not to upset the car, but the car's riding it absolutely beautifully.
Here is a quick update on a few things you need to know in RX education. First up, the Joker. Every driver must complete one longer lap, shown here in white, once every race. They can choose when, and that choice can be critical. The point system. Once all 4 rounds of qualifying are completed, the fastest aggregate driver receives 16 championship points, descending to 1 point for the 16th placed competitor. In the semis, the first to cross the line takes 6 championship points, descending to 1 point for the last to finish. It's the same for the final, but the first to finish gets 8 points instead of 6 for winning the event. Come the end of the season, the driver with the most points will take the title. The RX supercars are 600 brake horsepower turbocharged beasts, powered by a 2-litre engine generating 900 Newton meters of torque. 0 to 60, they're faster than an F1 car, and you need to be very, very talented to handle one.
On then to Q4, and this is how they stand before racing starts. Solberg and Kristoffersen at the top of the table, but who's going to miss out? Only the top 12 go through. Gronholm and Scheider, look, Hakkinen, Block and Wilks all around that P12 mark. Backward, P18 despite a good Q3. Qualifying for last chance to make it through to the semi-finals. Johan Kristoffersen in the first race thanks to missing that all-important joker in Q3. Him and Kevin Eriksson, who of course have been off in the gravel, flew around the circuit, setting fantastic lap times. Eriksson doing very well to hang on to the informed Kristoffersen, who took the win. Next up, it was Sebastian Loeb's turn to make up for Q3, where of course he'd had that clash with Kevin Eriksson. The 9-time World Rally Champion put on a fantastic display to take the win with a very good time. Some very quick drivers in this one, a full lineup across the width of the track. Guy Wilkes on the inside line with Scheider next to him, Hakkinen, Munich and JB de Boer. But this is important at the bottom of your screen. 13th, Hakkinen is just outside. Scheider, 12th, is just inside. Wilkes is 15th. These guys desperately need to try and fight their way in. Monster Energy girls leave the grid. What are these guys going to do? How are they going to split the strategy to try and remain safe, but also get that quick race time? Remember, this is about race time. Where do they finish in Q4? That gives them their qualifying points. That puts them in the standings in order, and the top 12 go through to the semi-finals. So this is crucial for Wilkes, Scheider and Hakkinen. Munich and de Boer aren't far away, to be fair, but those 3 guys are right on the cusp. Pretty even start. Wilkes looks like he hasn't got the best one. Hakkinen's going to try and move across. Scheider's putting the squeeze on Wilkes. Contact between them. Wilkes gives it back again. Oh no, not the best tactics. All 5 into the joker. What are they doing?
Scheider wasn't planning on doing that. Him and Wilkes got hooked up a little bit. Wilkes kept in him, and I think that then just oversped Scheider, and he had to go to the joker.
Unfortunately as well, Wilkes has lost out here because, to be fair to the guys, in fact, Wilkes up the inside of Munich, so and from the commentary position, Wilkes is just past Munich. Scheider rides the curves hard, but out front is Hakkinen.
But as you said, it's about race time. It's hard because obviously you want to fight, you want to be competitive, but you can't afford anything like that, because that's probably then put Guy out of contention to get into the semis. It's very much put Scheider under jeopardy whether he'll get through, or because of being a bit too close into turn 1.
I did wonder if Guy might have been able to dip into the lap because he was kind of fierce going down towards turn 1, but just too late on the brakes for them. No, they looked up the inside.
And after contact, you know, you're on the limit all the way, getting the car stopped. It's all played into Haikkonen's hands in the Audi. He's 13th at the minute after Q3, so he needs a good time. He's let them all fight behind. He's got his head down, so let's see what pace he can get out of this now.
Wilkes pushing really hard in the background, desperate to pass De Bourg. He's ahead of De Bourg in terms of the standings. Has been a little bit quicker than him in 2 out of the 3 qualifying sessions as well, so he's trying desperately. Wilkes is fighting here to go from P15 and in, but Haikkonen out front, of course, is in P13, and he is right on the cuff. Dust flies up as the guys come out of the last corner. Haikkonen heads down into the first corner, pushing really hard. We know there was a good time earlier on from both Ekstrom and Nitish in the sister car to this. So in theory, this should be on for Haikkonen, with the track developing as well in terms of lap time. Andrew Torrens looking at a time, he's been covered in dust. The drivers who showered us.
Best lap so far is about just over 4/10 off Lowe's best lap. You just click the marker there, you get a penalty for the first, you get a warning for the first one and a penalty. So Haikkonen should be on for a pretty solid time. He's going to rely on what others do for him to get through.
Scheider super close to the barriers as he comes through the last corner. There is the target time. Remember, nobody's got to Joker because somehow they all ended up going in there in the first corner. Haikkonen, let's have a look at his style through this section. The car drops downhill here. You missed that slight. You can see it a little bit there into the compression, up and over the curbs. That's the one which you see the spectacular shots of with the mountain in the background. Absolutely beautiful. And this is a good drive so far from Haikkonen. 2:40.8 is the time of Sebastian Loeb. How close will Haikkonen be to that? Can he beat it? Haikkonen lifts off. The anti-lag crackles and bangs. He goes over the line. 2:41.8. He's a second off. Where's that going to put him? At the minute, that puts him P2, so that puts him P2 behind Sebastian Loeb. But there are 10 cars still to come, and they are all fast. So hold on to your hats for the end of this one, and we'll find out who's going to make it through to the semi-finals. Haikkonen and Scheider doing their best to try and make it. Scheider currently P12, Haikkonen currently P13. Where are they going overall? They're kind of slotting in various different places. De Bourg and Wilkes look 6th and 7th. We'll let you know who's made it at the end of Q4. Off the line then, talk us through, Andrew.
Keep an eye on the cars on the inside. Scheider starts squeezing Wilkes a little bit. Wilkes stays in him and gives him another one. But it hurts himself because he's like, I don't know what Guy's doing there. I've seen the car, he's struggling to get it stopped, but you see he braked, then came off the brake and accelerated. So whether he knew he wasn't going to get it into the corner and thought he's got to go to the Joker. On board with Scheider behind Haikkonen, a little bit of opposite lock over the curb. Haikkonen kicking dirt up into his face. Just look how aggressive that is through there. Haikkonen could get his head down, set a reasonable time. He's now got to see what others do, see if he makes it through to the semi-finals.
Toppy, it must feel good to get a clean race win out of the way, but it's kind of out of your hands now.
Yeah, hopefully that's enough. We beat the Shiner, so now we just need to wait a bit. We have been struggling a lot with the setup for me, so hopefully now it's getting better and we can make a good result.
Thank you.
Q4 race 4 on the line, good to go. On the inside, Andreas Backrud, then it's Yannis Baumanis, Kevin Hansen, Ken Block and Niklas Gronholm. New tyres for Kevin Hansen, new front for Andreas Backrud, new front left for Niklas Gronholm. There are the jump start sensors just in front of the cars. The drivers will be eager to get away as fast as they can, but not fast enough to trigger that and give them a second Joker lap as a penalty. Gronholm is sitting P11. This is a good performance by him. He was 13th in Q1, 10th in Q2 and Q3. And he'll be hoping for something decent here. And he could just hold on to these guys. These guys are all pretty much fast enough for Gronholm to just follow and get through to the semis. That'd be a good result for him. Pretty long hold, good start, Ken Block and Andreas Backrud. What they're discussing, they drag it out down towards turn 1. Ken Block's moving across towards Backrud, Ken heading down and breaking into the apex. Backrud around the inside, 4 cars, Baumanis gets in the back. Up the inside, Hansen, Kevin Hansen looking up, Baumanis takes out about 5 bollards on the way round. I'm not sure he'll get a penalty for that, so I don't know if he could have avoided it.
No, I don't think he will, but Baumanis, to me, looked like he was going to go to the normal lap and then either couldn't get it stopped or decided not to. Backrud's got the 2 new front tyres, so he's going to be strong in this one. We've seen the Surtees a little bit quicker, and Backrud really P18. he's
got to win it.
He's got to win it, but you know, for him, he's just put his mark on it, show how quick he is, as we know.
There's basically 5 bonus points, isn't it? If you go P1, you get 50 qualifying points. P2 is 45. So Baccarat really has to go top qualifier in this session. And there we are, fastest lap of the day, if he wants to stand a chance. And he still needs a disaster for other people. But we saw in the last race at Q3, that can happen. He's got to push.
And from his point of view, if he drives this as quick as he can and makes no mistakes or very few mistakes and goes quickest at the end of Q4, then that's all he can do. You know, from his point of view going home, he's been very unlucky this weekend. He's been as quick as ever when he's not got a problem or a radio problem with the Joker lap. So there's nothing much more he can do than drive as quick as he can and go quickest.
Everybody monstering the curve in the background. Andrew Jordan, you've done a ton of championship years. What's it like when at the start of the season you have a setback like Baccarat had here? You know, missing the Joker, but then the puncture was unlucky, and that's really put him on the back foot in the championship. You need to average 20 points a weekend in the World Rallycross Championship to win it, and I don't think he's going to get that here.
No, and especially with how competitive it is now. You know, the good guys are just there or thereabouts every weekend scoring the points. So it's very frustrating, but again, that sort of stuff happens. Everyone has a rough one now or then. You've just got to try and pull that behind you and crack on with the next event. And Baccarat, to me, seems a very happy-go-lucky guy. I'm sure he's not the sort who will dwell on it too much.
He'll be hoping, of course, that other people have their fair share. So statistically, the top 2 in the championship are making through our Baccarat. Look at that
The rear wheel just locked him. I'm going to throw it out there. I think he's going to go quicker than Loeb here. I think at the minute, if he makes no mistakes through here, I think he's going to be hard to beat in this one.
Trying very, very hard indeed. So statistics show you need a good result basically at every single event in the year if you want to win the championship. The top 2 in the championship every year of the World Championship have made the semi-finals at every event. The World Champions never miss more than 3 finals in a season. So Baccarat pushing as hard as he can and praying he can make it through to the semis. He's done a brilliant job. Absolutely fully lit over the line. 2:39.5. Baccarat goes faster than Sebastian Loeb by 1.3 seconds, or 1.2 seconds, sorry. Brilliant job by him. The crowd go nuts. Will it be enough? We'll find out very shortly. Here it is, 2:39.577. Ken Block, his teammate behind him. That's good by Ken as well. 2:40.8. That's actually the similar time to Sebastian Loeb. So look at Ken Block right up there, P3 to Baccarat's P1. I say he really needs to win this one if he possibly can. Baumanis, a good run by him too. On board with Baumanis down to turn 1.
Just so you know, it looks like he brakes him and, oh no, he had to jink behind. I think he had planned to go to the Joker, didn't necessarily anticipate Block going as well from the outside. But it was all Baccarat, wasn't it? You know, that time is going to stand him in very good stead. Christopherson's yesterday was a 39.2 was his. And so Baccarat's right in the ballpark there. He gained a lot of time on the way in, but a good job by Ken Block as well, only just over a second and a half, I think, away from him, so super job by the Fords.
Andreas, you did exactly what you had to do, the quickest race time so far today, but is it enough?
I don't think so. Yesterday I had 18 points up to a semi-final spot. Today after Q3 I had 14, so I mean, like, but hey, I have so much fun here in Montalegre. It's beautiful weather, great atmosphere. Obrigado, de nada, all that stuff. You know what? I just cross my fingers. Hopefully we're in a semi. You know, I was pushing hard out there.
Well done, thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to take a look at the team profile for EKS. Of course, the current world champions for both driver Matthias Ekström on the left and the teams as well. Topi Heikkinen was in the team last year as well. Here are your stats down at the bottom there, gives you an idea of what they've done. But the most impressive thing for me here is Matthias Ekström, the world champion. This will give you an idea of what you've got to do in terms of average performances. You've heard us talking about a lot today. 93% of the time Ekström makes the semis, 70% he makes the final, 44% of the time he reaches the podium, and 26% of the time he wins the event. Fantastic performance. That's what you do to be world champion. The last qualifying race of round 2 of the FA World Rallycross Championship is on the grid. Let's see the lineup. Petter Solberg, the outgoing world champion on the inside. The current world champion, Matthias Ekström. Reini Snitish in the third car for EKS next to him. Timmy Hansen, P4, Timmers Janov on the outside. Ekström runs that one front left new tyre. Reini Snitish with a pair on the front of his Audi. Snitish and Ekström will absolutely have had a chat about what to do. The random bit is what happens with Solberg and Ekström on the way down to turn 1. Ekström Ekstrom, of course, can't control that. Petter loves to talk to the other drivers and say, oh, why don't we do this and why don't we not run into each other at turn 1, but they don't always listen to that. Thumbs up. We're going to find out soon enough because they're only a few hundred metres away from that first corner. Green flag. Solberg is currently top qualifier, doesn't need to do anything dangerous. Ekstrom sitting in P3. Away from the line. Good start by Ekstrom and Solberg on the outside. Ekstrom, look at the speed of Solberg down the straight, out-tracks him, unless Ekstrom's happy to do that. He knows Nitish is going Joker. Nitish is going to end up pushing Timosyanov wide. Timmy Hansen's on the outside of Ekstrom. I don't know if he can get through there. Hansen rides the curves on the outside and has to slot into P3.
I think Ekstrom blended out down there. I think it's a sensible thing to do. You know, he's there or thereabouts. He didn't need to do anything silly. He didn't need to get into a fight with Petter. I think he blended out. I was pointing at the screen because Nitish carried so much speed into the Joker, but I didn't think he was quite going to get it pulled up.
He just about did,
just got it. I'm sure he was panicking a bit in there, struggling to get the thing stopped.
Trouble is now he's found a later breaking point. He's got to hit that every time.
I'd probably say, why didn't you do that every other time?
Engineers will be looking at that going, not good enough, sunshine. Down the straight, Solberg leading from Ekstrom. Timmy Hansen behind. Those guys haven't jokered. Look at the top left of your screen. The little tick means they've done the Joker lap. Out towards the curves, and if they're sensible, Andrew, they're just going to go on a train here, aren't they, round to the finish?
Yeah, they're all quick guys. They don't need to fight. You know, they'll be driving it as quick as they can. It's good when you're in a race like this, you know that no one's really going to be holding you up massively. So at this point of the weekend, you're better off just getting a good solid time, and then the elbows come out in the semis and the final when you're racing for position, not just time.
Timmy Hansen currently P8. He was 13th in Q2. That didn't go his way. That was, of course, when he had his little coming together with Topi Heikkinen. Nitish looking like he's on a bit of a flyer in terms of lap time entry.
I think it's going to be around just over 3 seconds. He's got 3.2 behind Solberg, so it's going to be close. It'll be close with Matthias, with his teammate, so that's going to be interesting, isn't it? Team lost teammate. But Nitish is out there for himself. Interesting with Ekstrom, he's gone for that new left front again, so that will leave him 2 new tyres left for the semi-finals.
Hansen checked up, sorry to interrupt, Hansen checked up in the middle of that corner, but everything seems to be okay. Just suddenly lost time. It was almost like it gripped up or didn't go quite where he wanted to go in that long, tricky right-hander on the gravel. Ekstrom and Solberg now going to have to dive into the Joker. Where is Reinis Nitish going to be? And Timosyanov's right behind him as well. This is going to be a good one. Down towards the Joker. Nitish comes on a defensive line down into the hair, but he's going to try and move across. Is he going to get in front of Ekstrom? He doesn't. He holds it wide. He lets... No, Nitish gets in front, so Nitish is in front of Ekstrom. Nitish in front of Ekstrom. Timosyanov slots him behind. Fantastic job by the Latvian.
That was close, but well played by the teammates. I'm sure the spotters were on the radio saying it was going to be close. So Matthias didn't come out and commit to use all the road. He knew Rennes.
Hansen going up the inside of Timosyanov into the final corner. Lovely job, former teammates. That was clean by Timmy. Just a little side-by-side nudge. I think he'll get away with that. Timosyanov's lost out by about a second there at the finish. Solberg takes it and will go top qualifier. Behind him, Reinis Nitish beats his world champion teammate Matthias Ekstrom. Timmy Hansen and Timosyanov. That's what the merge can be like here in Portugal. Very, very fast and committed. You've really got to believe that there's a gap if you're going to shut the door there, and we saw those guys. We'll check in the replays in just a second. So the result, Solberg with a 240.2. Reinis Nitish, Matthias Ekstrom, Timmy Hansen and Timosyanov. Let's see where they go. Bakarud wins Q4. Will it be enough to make it through to the semi-finals? We'll have the point standings for you in just a few short moments.
That puts you top qualifier after the qualifying session. Must be happy with that.
Yeah, for sure, you know, and yeah, second race with the new Volkswagen, you know, it's pretty good, you know. It's a lot of things that we have fixed since Barcelona, as you can see, so very happy. The team has done a fantastic job, and we still will push.
Good, thank you.
Thanks.
Here are the standings after Q4 here in Portugal. Petter Solberg is top qualifier for round 2 of the World Rallycross Championship. Matthias Ekstrom right behind him. Johan Kristoffersen drops down to P3. That's going to put him on the outside row of his semi-final. Sebastian Loeb in P4. Then it's Nitish, Baumanis, Hansen, Kevin Hansen beating Timmy Hansen, looking to P7 and P8. Timosyanov makes it in 9. Bakarud's made it. He won Q4 and Bakarud has made it to P10. I cannot believe it. That's the performance of someone who desperately wants to win the World Championship. Look how terrible Q1 and Q2 were for him. Brilliant. His teammate Ken Block through as well, as Topi Heikkinen making it into 12th. Niklas Gronholm, Kevin Eriksson, Timo Scheider. Both the guys are out. Look, Guy Wilkes in P16. JB de Borg, Munich, Kosmarski, Chuchik, Demustier and Santos are gone for this weekend.
Well, Andreas, the team are preparing the car for the semi-final. Did you even believe that was going to be possible?
No, I didn't, because, you know, so many times I put myself in this position of doing a bad Saturday, and this just need to end now. Like, never again. I will never put my heart and my body through this nervosities. But it's also me, in a nutshell, performing under pressure. So, I mean, like, yeah, it's just like those days where we suffered so much bad luck and doing mistakes yesterday and puts us in a bad position. And I really had to fly today. And in Q3, I was the first car on track, and the track was newly watered. And I knew in Q4 that I just had to do my drive of my life, and I was pushing the Ford Focus RS incredibly hard.
So you were aware exactly what you had to do. You had to get the full 50.
Yeah, all in or nothing. Like Liam Doran say, risk everything, fear nothing, right?
So that means you can now go into the semi-finals and know that anything is possible.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like, I know here in Montalegre it's really hard to do our overtake. We need to do a good start, a good launch, and have a good speed down the straight, and we need to be lucky with the Joker strategy. We saw in the heat before me that everybody went to the Joker at the same time. Maybe that happened again and I turned in the normal line, but I mean, we make a plan A, but we end up with plan D or E or whatever, you know. But both cars in the semi-final, big win for us in Q4.
Superb. Well done, Andreas. We'll see you in the semi-finals. Let's go and have a word with the boss, who's up here as we follow a tyre, which is going onto Andreas's car. They're just looking at data, I think. Sorry to interrupt. Derek, give us a sense of how impressive, first of all, that drive in particular was from Andreas.
After yesterday's difficulties, we knew we had to try and pull some out of the bag, and one thing with the young lad, he won't give up. So we were quite optimistic this morning when we set a decent time, and he's basically delivered. And you know, he has some serious amount of pace, and he's just proved it. But the good thing for us was Ken and also both of them qualified for the semis, and Ken's pace was extraordinary. So he felt very comfortable, and we'll see more of that during the year.
And just briefly, give us a sense of how impressive that is, considering the pace of some of the cars that you're up against.
Yeah, I mean, quite clearly we struggled slightly yesterday. So, you know, we had two laps to warm up this morning, so we had a bit of a gamble last night, and it paid off. And a lot of engineering support and everything, so, you know, pretty happy.
Well done. Thanks, Derek.
Thank you.
Hello from Montalegre in Portugal, where amazingly the sun is still shining, and it is shining down on a 25,000 capacity sellout crowd. Despite the fact we've built two enormous new grandstands here, they can't wait for the semi-finals. I can't either. Of course, round 2 of the FA World Rallycross Championship, the qualifying stages are finished, and we're on to the knockout part of this event. So we'll be able to have a look back in just a few moments at how qualifying has happened so far and where we stand. Aeroplane entertaining the crowd, look. Came very close to the ground a couple of times. Impressive stuff. Right, let's have a look at who the top 12 are and where everybody finished after the qualifying sessions. 4 qualifying sessions, of course. And we've had one particularly impressive story today. A man who's made it through, who we really didn't think was going to. So here we are, now we can see it. So Solberg, Ekstrom, Kristoffersson, Loeb, Nitish Baumanis, Kevin and Timmy Hansen, Timoz Yanov. The miracle man is Andreas Backrud. How did he get back from P20 to P10? Ken Block's gone through with Toppy Haken as well. Gronholm, Ericsson, Scheider, P2 in Barcelona has missed out along with Guy Wilkes. This is where they split. Odds go to semi-final number 1 and evens to semi-final number 2. We've got both our World Rallycross champions on each of the pole positions in each of the semi-finals. Kristoffersson's on the front row with Solberg. Loeb will be on the front row in semi-2 with Sebastian Loeb. Great stuff. Right, Neil Cole was down on the pre-grid earlier on, and he managed to catch up with the man who took the top qualifier spot here in Portugal, Petter Solberg.
Petter Solberg, Montalegre last year was the last time you won a round of the World RX. Give us an idea of what's changed since then.
Well, car for sure, but I think this with Johan and stuff, team, you know, it's very good, good for me also. I think you know, you can overlay data and learn from each other, and I think it's been really good fun. So it'll be, I hope it's not only one victory this year.
And give us a sense what you can achieve from pole position in semi-final one.
Well, I need a good start for sure, and you know, many people will go straight into the Joker, so I need to be on the pace very quickly, so they don't catch up any times. If not, it can be very tight with the Joker. So I have to push definitely. So we will see.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thanks.
Solberg says he's been learning things from Kristoffersen from him as well. They were looking at stuff all through free practice yesterday. It was fantastic having a chat with them. We'll keep you posted on all of that as we go through the semi-final process. But this is what we've got coming up for you in the next hour. Of course, first of all, those World RX Supercar semi-finals live. Top 3 go through, bottom 3 go out. Then it's the first Super 1600 final for Euro RX of the season, followed by the World RX final to decide the winner of round 2 from Montalegre in Portugal. Well, first of the semi-finals, front row, as all the winners for World RX Portugal ever, because only Petter Solberg and Johan Kristoffersen have won here. Solberg won in 14 and 16, Kristoffersen won in 15, and as you can see, they line up on the front row. So let's take a look at the full lineup for semi-final 1 from Montalegre. Petter Solberg and his teammate Johan Kristoffersen. Kristoffersen would have been in the other semi were it not for missing the Joker lap earlier today. On row 2, Reinis Nitish and Kevin Hansen. And on row 3, Timothy Mazyanov and Ken Block. So the third cars for the two teams, Peugeot and EKS, are on the middle row here, Nitish and Kevin Hansen. Kevin Hansen with a great performance, outperforming his brother Timmy. Kristoffersen and Solberg, what will be their start strategy? Andrew Jordan is alongside me here as the Monster Energy girls leave the grid, and you heard there Solberg clunk the car into gear. The marshal is on the radio. There's the classic I'm on the radio pose, one hand up to the air. Waiting a long time here. The drivers will be very, very hot in the cars. Finally, the marshal heads down towards the back of the grid, gets the thumbs up for the 6 drivers. Anti-lag on, heart rate up, green flag up, ready to race. There's that really low tone from both the VWs on the front. They're running a different start than they were in Barcelona. Away from line, brilliant start by Solberg and Kristoffersen. Nitish has got the jump on Hansen on the second row. Is Kristoffersen going to go to the Joker? We think he will. Tim Mazyanov dives out from the outside. 4 cars into the Joker lap. Kristoffersen from Nitish. Tim Mazyanov trying to send it round Block. Block shuts the door on him. Out front it is Solberg from Kevin Hansen.
Perfect teamwork from VW, very equal start, and I'm sure that Tim Mazyanov into the side of Block there. I'm sure they had the talk down there, they'd closed the gap to an equal start, and Kristoffersen was always going to go to the Joker. Then it looked like everyone else was following. Kevin Hansen took pretty swift action, he had it all crossed up into turn 1, but that's put him into clear air when everyone else behind his Joker.
So great move by Kevin Hansen. Can he make it through to the final? It'd be brilliant if he does. Look at the dust in the background. The visibility here, not great for these guys. Kristoffersen's in P3. What's his opening lap time, Andrew Jordan? It's normally pretty impressive.
It looks pretty good, that Joker, yes. So the races between Solberg and Kristoffersen have been so equally matched. Yesterday, it seemed Kristoffersen just had the edge over a lap. Certainly the opening lap in all of the qualifying races was where he was gaining on his time. But today, Solberg has been very strong.
We had a brilliant chat with Kristoffersen, didn't we, in free practice when he came in after the first run, and he was like, I'm 2 tenths faster on the tar. He's 8 tenths faster than me on the gravel.
It was actually quite funny, wasn't it? He was finding the humour. He said, how is it possible he's 8 tenths quicker than me on the gravel? But then the next run he comes out and goes quickest. So as Petter was saying to Neil on the pre-grid, they're both learning off each other, which is what you get with 2 world-class drivers in a world-class team.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Kristoffersen now is closing up on Kevin Hansen. I don't know if he's going to get to him in time for it to cause a problem. We wonder whether or not he's got the edge on the pace, Andrew.
Solberg's opening up the gap. He's taken 2 tenths out of Kristoffersen in the last lap. The gap is about 3.5 seconds to Johan, and it's about 3.2 is very close. So the minute he's just got him gapped.
Kristoffersson comes over the curbs on the inside with Kevin. You can hear these cars right on the limiter at that particular point in that corner. We're right behind them, Andrew, with the camera, but he's just where they're setting up for that last right-hander before they come through the finish complex of corners.
Kevin Hansen could be on. He's going to be between him and Rennie Snitters, I think, for third place. And obviously they're racing for position. It's not race time now. The top three go through to the final. So they'll be on the radio to Kevin saying push like mad because it's going to be close. And it'll be interesting to see when the Joker him. They'll be keeping an eye on the Audi's lap times.
And Kristoffersson now right up behind Kevin Hansen, who two wheels it over the curbs. Kevin doesn't normally take that much curb. Pitched it right up into the air. Kristoffersson now is going to be hampered a little bit, I think, by Kevin. And this is going to hurt him. This is going to hurt him. Petter is out front, desperate to take a win, to match, of course, Matthias Ekstrom's win at the first round. The VWs looked dangerous there, but they hadn't got their start sorted. They hadn't got them sorted here. Kristoffersson will be gutted that he missed that choke lap, Andrew. Is he going to have a look up the inside of Kevin? He doesn't this time. Kevin Hansen doing a brilliant job, headed towards the end of this one, lap 5 out of 6. So Kevin and Solberg are going to have to joker on the last lap, and I think this is going to go Solberg's way. Are you looking at the splits, though?
Yeah, Solberg's got it covered. He's done Johan by 1/10 to 2/10 on the lap, so I think Rennie Snitters in the Audi is going to come through to go third. I think he's got enough on Kevin Hansen. He's been strong all weekend, isn't he, in the Audi?
He was right behind Ekstrom, wasn't he? And then, in fact, Ekstrom was very clever and shut the door on the drivers behind to let Nitish in Q4. So good drive between them. They got all three cars through to the semi-finals. Solberg breaks deep down into the joker lap. Here he goes. Watch for the white shot in the background. Kevin goes into the joker lap. Here comes Kristoffersson. He's not going to make it. Kristoffersson comes through. Look for the merge. This is between Reinis Nitish and Kevin Hansen. And Reinis Nitish has got the job done. Kevin Hansen comes out just in front of Ken Block. Great. I tell you what, good drive by Ken Block as well. These guys are all so close together on pace now. Solberg, though, out front is untouchable. Kristoffersson is nearby, but he couldn't do it this time. Kristoffersson's going to have to start the final from row 2, and that might mean that he isn't able to take the win. He'll have to take his tactics by what happens in front. Solberg wins semi-final number 1 from his teammate Johan Kristoffersson, and P3 goes to Reinis Nitish. A brilliant drive by the Latvian in the third of the EKS Audis. A round of applause indeed. Great tactics, great racing between the drivers. Kevin there, unfortunately, maybe holding Kristoffersson up just a tiny bit. Whatever happens, Nitish with a tidy drive, looking like he wasn't trying too hard in the background, comes through into P3. So Reinis Nitish makes it through to the final. Nitish made it to the semis back in Barcelona, so that's his first final for the EKS RX team.
Look, Kristoffersson commits, Nitish behind him, and then there, look, Kevin had to get out of the back of Solberg. He had it all crossed up, but it was Solberg just had enough when it counts. He was just 1/10 to 2/10 quicker, opening up the gap. Petter Solberg style flings it in there, but this VW is looking super, super strong. So I think his competitors might be a little bit worried going through to the final.
Oh, I think they certainly will. We've got semi-final 2 to come with Ekstrom and Loeb on the front row. Who's going to be joining Petter on the front row of the final? Can't wait to find out. And then, of course, we get to see them do battle for 6th lap 2. And there's no chance of rain for once here in Portugal. Well, there is a cloud in the sky, but they're not the nasty grey ones. Final will be coming up later. Semi-final 2 will be up next. Meanwhile, Neil Cole has managed to grab Petter Solberg, so we can go and hear from the man himself.
Petter, I think we're going to have to be as quick as your race was just then, because you've got to get the car back to the paddock.
Yeah, we have to. We have to prepare a fantastic run, good control, and really good fun. This is very good for the team and also in everybody, and also for my son yesterday. He was also full pot after all the heats, and I had it today, so I'm very happy, and he'll follow this.
Solberg clunking the car into gear and driving off. See you later, Neil, with this interview's over. But to be fair, they don't have long to re-prepare these cars, Andrew. It's a very, very hot day. Job to do.
It's a very short turnaround, but an advantage of being in semi-final 1 is you get that extra probably 5 to 7 minutes of preparation time to get the car turned around in time for the final.
Monster Energy girls are on the grid. The cars are ready for semi-final number 2, and we'll have them rolling up to the grid in a few short moments' time. Very, very hot indeed in the commentary box, in the cars, and I'm sure for this capacity crowd as well. Brilliant to see that this fantastic event has managed to fill up the grandstands. Here's another look at some of the action from semi-final one.
So look, keep an eye on the Peugeot, Kevin Hansen. Look, he's struggling to get his stop. Timojanov have to jink out, but Kevin's forced to the outside of Solberg. He lost a bit of time there, so you could always say, is that the time between him finishing fourth or finishing third? But these cars all look so well sorted, you know, coming back this year, the level of development, that was Timojanov getting a little bit physical at the inside,
he nearly got
it completed. But they all look so well sorted, they're on top of their game in terms of driving, obviously, and in the car they're working very hard at it, but you watch it and they're making it look easy to drive.
You were saying, though, that this is, obviously, I'm lucky I come to all these events, you're lucky in that you get to race in British touring cars, but you're missing WRX action. You're saying things have really moved on, haven't they,
just
since you were last here?
The build quality on all the cars. Last year you'd have a few really nice ones and a couple not as nice. Now you look at them all and the attention to detail is absolutely fantastic on all the cars. The team seem to be growing, there's more personnel, more engineers, so they're all getting really behind this as the sport's evolving, and you can't stand still, because if you do, you go backwards. And the VW team look really, really impressive. They've got two fantastic drivers. Johan and Petter are working well together, so it'll be interesting to see how long that lasts, if they're championship challengers and contenders against each other.
Solberg doesn't like being beaten, never does he? And I have to say that Kristoffersson, no, exactly, he doesn't. You definitely don't want to get beaten by your teammates, do you? So, well, we've got some lovely new graphics for you this year, team profile graphics. There are Team Hansen, they're up on top. It's Eric Farren on the left, who is a rallycross driver himself, with Kenneth Hansen, who you might have heard of if you're into your rallycross, team boss and rallycross legend. So here is Team Peugeot Hansen stats, Timmy Hansen and Sebastian Loeb. No introduction needed, I think, for Loeb. 9-time World Rally Champion Timmy Hansen, of course, started his career in single-seaters and moved across to follow his dad into rallycross. So they're the difference between these guys. Remember, Loeb's only been in this championship for a year, whereas Timmy Hansen's been with us right since the start. So you can see a big difference in their statistics there. Once we get on to this next part, Sebastian Loeb, in terms of making the semi-finals there on the right-hand side, 92%. That was 100% for Sebastian Loeb until the first round 3 weekends ago in Barcelona, when he missed the semi-finals for the first time, and that was a bit of a disaster for him right at the start of the year. 8% of his events won, of course that's because Sebastian won in Latvia last year. And as the season goes on, you're going to see those graphics develop and the numbers change. It'll be a great way to keep track of the form of the drivers. Solberg down in their fantastic paddock area, the blower there at the front blowing cold air through the front mounted radiators, of course, pretty radical for rallycross, but it's all working so far. Well, they're getting ready for the final in Petter Solberg's garage. But semi-final 2 is headed to the line. In fact, they're on the line. I can see there, and you can see as well. Last of the cars to pull up to the back of the grid. Let's see the lineup for semi-final number 2. On the front row, Matthias Ekström, the current World Rallycross champion, and Sebastian Loeb running the 9 in reference to his incredible record in rallying. Janis Baumanis, brilliant performance by him to be up with Timmy Hansen on row 2. And on the back row, Andreas Backerud and Topi Heikkinen. Andreas Backerud, story of the day. Started P20, had a good run in Q3, didn't think he'd make it. There's Sebastian Loeb. He really had to win Q4, Andreas Backerud did, and he's made it. What can he do from the back row of the semi? Can he make it through to the final? Loeb looking pretty relaxed, but he broke a sweat, Andrew, earlier today.
He did. He was really trying. He said after his race he had to push for that time, and I think it was top 3 time. It was right up there. But he really worked for it, and you can see Janis working himself up there. There's so much adrenaline when he sat on the line, because it's, you know, a short race. You know you've got to be in the top 3. But I would bet here that Loeb's going to be looking to the Joker lap on lap 1, and you'd think off the start he'll cover off Janis Baumanis in the Ford Fiesta behind. So they expect to see Loeb go a little bit right towards Ekström. They clunk him into gears, and we're about to get going.
What's Timmy Hansen going to do from behind Loeb if Loeb decides to go to the Joker, or will he see if he can shut the door on Ekström? This is going to all depend, of course, how they get away from the line. Everybody way backward has to dip the clutch at the back. Ekström's got a better start than Loeb. Ekström moves across Loeb, moves across 2. Hansen's going in behind Loeb, but Loeb changes his mind. Loeb goes down to the Joker lap, and Hansen's gone with him. So Baumanis was up the inside. There's contact in the background there as Backerud pushes Baumanis out wide. Baumanis takes out a row of bollards. I wonder if Backerud will get in trouble for that, because there's a big suspension. Backerud's weekend, we thought he'd rescued it, and unfortunately it was too aggressive there, I think, and the back end of the car has been broken. So Backerud is going to go out the Ford Focus R Red. Look at them holding everybody up behind. Backerud's off, pulls out the way, he knows it's over.
This is hurting Loeb. You know, Timmy Hansen is in a bit of a bad position because he's stuck behind Loeb now, so the best he'll get is third, but you've got to look at the Audis. Ekstrom and Heikkinen up front, and it's all played into their hands because behind it's kicked off, there's a big gap. Loeb at the inside of Baumani, so he's cleared now, but that's just played into the hand of these two guys.
Why not Joker straight away if you think you can do it? Baumanis goes into the Joker lap now to see what he can do. And what do you do about Peugeot? Loeb didn't make the semis in Barcelona. It's early in the season, but in some ways you should put Hansen through.
You try making that call to Sebastian Loeb, because I wouldn't. It's too early for that, and it's too risky. You know, it's short races. You've got to just go for it. He's in that position. He did the hard work. He qualified on the front row of this semi-final. Let him go and do his thing.
So the Audi's out front with full control over what they do. Andrew Jordan's looking at the timing screens to try and figure out when it's best for these guys to go. Do they go early in case they make a mistake? Do they send one of them early? They're not. At the minute, Heikkinen goes to the standard lap as well. Both the Peugeots, of course, are jokered, and they're on the standard lap.
Close with Heikkinen. Ekstrom's got more than enough to cover Loeb off, who we're looking at. He's the first car that's joker, but it's going to be very close, I think, with Heikkinen and Hansen. So they're the guys we're looking at and comparing times for that third position, which obviously will secure them into the final. So gutted for Backerud, though.
Yeah.
We need to see the replay of it. But from back there, you've got to get your elbows out. You've got to try, because you know you're not going to just do it on the pace. It's very hard to overtake.
We were on a very long shot, weren't we, from the outside of the joker lap down in turn 1 and couldn't really see it. Backerud looked to me like he pushed Baumanis really wide onto the curves, which you would do, but that contact has broken the car. So was it too much? We'll find out from them later. Matthias Ekstrom, the world champion, continues to lead, pops the car up over the curbs. Heikkinen has fallen back into the clutch of the Peugeot.
Joked him because he's Peugeot are catching Heikkinen, so they should have joked him early, got him out and tried to cover it off because they knew that the Peugeots are so quick. You know, Ekstrom took a second out of Heikkinen on the last lap, so you might as well have joked him and hoped he came out in front, and then you've got to fight it on track rather than letting the strategy take
At the minute, to me, it's looking like Hansen might get through as well, so we might see both the Peugeots go through. Baumanis seems to be a long way off. There's a bit of smoke made from the back of Baumanis' car from the commentary prediction, but Ekstrom is in a race of his own.
You know, he's just in a 38.3 compared to, well, you know, Loeb's in a 38.4, Hansen in a 38.4, but Toppy's lost more times.
Toppy and the Joker, he's going to come out, and the Peugeots have both done him. So Toppy Heikkinen goes from P2 down to P4. That's going to be the end for him. I think Toppy might have a problem because that's a long way back, Andrew.
On those last two laps, he's lost 1.8 to 1.9 seconds. So if they've gone earlier, who knows where it is.
Exactly, because it's hard to pass here. Timmy did it yesterday, but he could have made the car very, very wide, and unfortunately instead he's joking and found himself out. So Ekstrom now needs to hold on. Rainey Snittish is already in the final, remember, so there will be two Audis in the final anyway. Down towards the Joker lap goes the world champion. He's tidy on the brakes. There's a lot of dust on the apex down there now. The two Peugeots, I tell you what, they've closed that gap up massively.
I don't know if Ekstrom had a bit of a mistake, but he dumped a second on his last lap compared to his previous, and yeah, so Sebastian took a second, 1.1 seconds out of him. So
when you think how much they were held up behind, basically Backerud was driving around with the car with the wheels hanging off. These guys were both behind. Can the Peugeots threaten in the final? We'll see, because two of them are going to go through unless there's some sort of amazing issue on these last few corners. Ekstrom pops it up over the curve behind him. Low, it is Matthias Ekstrom, the world champion, who goes through to join Solberg on the front row of the grid. Loeb in P2, Hansen in P3. Oh, Heikkinen comes across the line in fourth place. Baumanis is still on the opposite side of the circuit from us. There's smoke coming from the back of Baumanis' car as he rolls off the throttle down in the dip on the far side. He's just onto the gravel. Andreas Backerud, where's the focus? He parked it up at the side of the road, but you see there it is. Backerud has parked the car. There's Baumanis. So Baumanis, if you look at the rear of this, you might see blue smoke, which would suggest some sort of an engine or turbo issue. It's also rear, puncture, so maybe that's the smoke then. Maybe I'm wrong. It might just be tyre smoke, which we can smell up here in the commentary box now. Fair bit inside the car too, so it's a shame for Yanis. Good performance though, and the start car's good to see them both on a good pace. Baumanis crosses the line. Shame, door open, try to get some fresh air in there. Waves to the crowd anyway. Matthias Ekstrom takes semi-final number 2 from Sebastian Loeb and Timmy Hansen, who did a brilliant job after being held up from the Backerud Baumanis incident on that one. Toppy Heikkinen, maybe, if he joked it early, he'd have made it through to the final. Well, let's see if we can figure out turn 1. Andrew Jordan.
So Ekstrom got a good start, Loeb to the outside, Hansen follows him. Now let's keep an eye on Backerud in the background. He gets up the inside there, look like Baumanis had a bit of understeer, opened up a bit of a gap. Here we go. Now this is when it's already broken, so yeah, you can see the left rear is hanging off it there. It would really have been interesting to see what the Peugeots could have done, because Loeb was very quick, consistent all the way through. You can see they're just losing so much time there, stuck behind Backwood with the wheel hanging off. There's Backwood, so when it rains it pours. You know, he takes the positive of winning Q4, but very unlucky throughout the weekend.
Balmanis there moved across, didn't he? So that must have been the point at which he suddenly started slowing, because he didn't make any attempt to stop them from getting past. Ekstrom out front though with a great run. Would the Peugeots have been any nearer with that hold up? Maybe Neil Cole can ask him. Neil is with Matthias Ekstrom right now.
Matthias, the strategy and everything seemed to work perfectly in that semi. I can tell you're impatient to get on with the final.
Yeah, I mean, we want to go and service the car, but the semi was good. One little mistake for me in turn one, but except for this, all fine. So now get some energy for the final.
Thank you.
Backwood's car being recovered. Ekstrom's car about to be re-prepped. Backwood, bless him, out there, look, pushing the car onto the trailer with the marshals. He really is a good bloke. They all are, to be fair. We've got some great characters in this championship, some very famous names and some up-and-coming famous names. The focus heading back to the paddock and won't be going any further this weekend. Weekend's done for Hoonigan Racing Division. Backwood did well to make it. Unfortunately, though, Portugal was not to be. Super 1600 are here this weekend. It's the first round for Euro RX for them. They're at selected events during the course of the World RX season, along with, of course, touring cars and RX2, which we'll be seeing, I think, from Belgium onwards. These are the semi-finals. So Szabo on the inside in the white Fabia, the current champion. On the outside of him, Jussi-Petteri Leppähalma, going very well in the Twingo. The strategy was split down onto the first lap, and from then on, well, doors open on the outside. That was Gergely Marton, who had an absolute shocker. That's not what you need. But you're never going to be quick with half a sort of shed-shaped aerodynamic device off the side of the car, are you? But out front, as I say, Szabo pushing. Maybe not aware that Leppähalma was going quite so fast in the background. There's that door open again. Quite the distraction, I think, when that happens. And this was Leppähalma, this was the joke of P2, yeah.
Wasn't it? And that released Leppähalma in the Twingo. He was on a mission coming back, chasing after Szabo, really neat and tidy, and putting in some very consistent laps, chasing him down.
Interesting to step down from what he was doing, which was supercar in Finland, to come and do Super 1600, but it seems to have been a good decision, because look at this as well, very, very aware to leave enough space for no impact, but get the door shut.
He's very quick, and we've seen him in a supercar, and he was very quick in that. But you know, he wants to be on this package with his profile, with all the big supercar teams. And what better way to start his year off with a semi-final win?
Crowd enjoyed that. They still had semi-final number 2 to come. You'll be able to see the semi-finals on YouTube soon. Hal Rich joined me for those. This was Ulrich Linnemann shutting the door on everyone. He'd been complaining about not having the ideal top speed pace. I tell you what, Artis Balmanis did well to shut the door there, but there was definitely a little bit of contact between them, and again, the field split between the two, and another retirement on the way down into turn 1. We didn't see any more. I think, was it Lagur that I think retired in turn 1? Linnemann, though, second in this championship, Andrew. How many times, you know, he's desperate to win it.
He's always there or thereabouts, and he just needs a bit of luck. We've seen him have some torrid luck before, but he went to the Joker. You know, he's been very neat and tidy all week, and hasn't necessarily had the absolute ultimate pace, but when it matters, he switches it on, comes out just in front of Balmanis, who's switched teams to the Skoda and seems to be going very well. I think he was saying to you about the wheelbase, he finds it much more comfortable to drive than the Twingo last year.
Only 9 centimetres longer, but Balmanis saying it was just a much better car for him to drive. This was when the Jokers played out. Balmanis ending up there in P2. Contact then with his teammate, which wasn't ideal either. Not in the same team, but prepared by the same company. Those three go through to the final. We'll be seeing that in a few moments' time. European Rallycross Championship for Super 1600 is up next. Front-wheel drive, 1600cc, normally aspirated engines. If you're new to Rallycross, we have several support categories that join us during the course of the year. These guys being Super 1600. Here's their lineup for the final. Jussi-Petteri Leppähalma on the front row with Ulrich Linnemann. Christian Szabo, the current champion, on the second row with Artis Balmanis. And then Kasparas Navikas and Timo Shigabutinov making up the rear of the grid. Frantic action from them. They don't normally use quite so much curb as the supercars do, being only 2-wheel drive. And you can hear there the difference in the engine note. These guys revving up over 10,000 RPM, so they don't have the same rev limit that these cars used to have when they're in rallying. Look for Lipperhammer on the inside. Szabo hooks it up nicely from row 2, but Linneman shuts the door on him immediately. Szabo tries to move across to the inside, but can't, so it's Linneman and Lipperhammer down towards the first corner. Lipperhammer's trying to push Szabo wide. Contact between them. What are you doing? Wheel off Lipperhammer in the gravel. Far too much contact on the way down to turn 1. The wheels off in the gravel trap. Disaster.
Talk about taking yourself out of the race. He didn't need to do that. You know, he was alongside Szabo. Szabo wasn't really going to do anything around the outside. But Linneman again on the start, he had a car length within the first 50 to 75 metres, so he was getting very good starts. But a great shame for him. It was. I'm sure he was very frustrated. It's one of those, he wanted to open the gap, so he just gave him a little bit in his door, but there comes a point you've got to go, well, that's enough.
Well, I wasn't sure if he was trying to go to the Joker. It seemed to me that he wanted a first lap Joker, but you know, if you can't go, you can't go.
No, I think he was going to the Joker, and I think he still had room to go to the Joker.
Yes, so
I think he was just trying to open up. Linneman in, sends it into the Joker lap. Surprising that he's gone so early there. That would be to cover off Szabo, so...
Oh, comes out just in front, my goodness me,
that was more information than we do, and that was worthwhile doing, wasn't it? And he sent it in there all sideways on the way in, but they know Zabo's very quick in that Skoda, so they did that to cover off and get track position.
This is what we think they should have done with Häkkinen when he knew the Peugeot had been held up. He didn't need to do it to both the Audis. Send Häkkinen straight away to cover the Peugeots off, let Ekstrom check out into the distance, and it's cost them a car in the final, in my opinion. That's supercars, of course. Super 1600 in the background. You can see the damage to the front of Christian Zabo's car, the current champion, the white Fabia. When you see it, it's right up behind Linneman in the background. At the minute, doesn't seem to be causing any problems. Shigabutinov and Navikas out front. It was Navikas, of course, who came together with Baumanis in their semi-final. So Baumanis has jokered. So looking at the left-hand side of your screen, those who haven't jokered have got a cross next to their name. Same as Supercar for Super 1600, 6 laps. One of them's got to be a joker. Andrew Navikas is right behind Shigabutinov here, and these guys, the others are starting to gain on them.
Yeah, it's all close, and you know, Linneman really, he's the first car that's jokered, and he is 2.3 seconds behind, so that's more than enough time. You know, it's a tricky job for the spotter, because you've got to look at who you're racing. You know, Linneman knows he's going to be racing Szabo, because Szabo are jokered. He was the lead car at a jokered. But you know, you need to look at your splits. They're all doing splits with
into the Joker.
into the
Navikas, sorry. So Navikas into the Joker. Where's he going to end up? How's that going to affect the decision? The others, there he goes. If Baumanis goes through. So he was right behind Shigabutinov. I think Shigabutinov's in danger here of being had by Baumanis as well. So we could see these three heading through. Shigabutinov's got 2 laps to go. When do you go, Andrew? Now and respond?
I'd try and go now. If he's catching you, you've got to go as soon as possible. And the spotters are timing splits all around the lap, so they're not just looking at the end lap time and the gap.
Szabo having a look around the outside. Get the car straight on the exit, just try and find some traction. I think Szabo might have more ultimate pace, even with the front wing missing from the car. But he's got to get past Linneman. Watch these two guys as they head down the straight. Szabo was the champion from Linneman last year by just 2 points. Down into the hairpin at the end. Szabo again has a look up the outside. Now he's going to look up the inside. He gives a nudge to Linneman on the exit.
I'm surprised Shigabutinov didn't go, because Baumanis took half a second out of him on that last lap. So if he'd gone, he might have again got that track position. So he's just losing time every lap, which is then making it harder and harder for him to come out in front with the Joker.
Well, Baumanis then could well end up on the podium here. If Shigabutinov jokers late enough, but Baumanis will end up taking that final spot.
Zabo's looking really racy, isn't it? I don't think he's necessarily just going to settle for a second here. I think he's putting on the pressure. I wouldn't be surprised if he has a bit of a look somewhere on this last lap.
Into the Joker, that goes Shigabutinov. This is for a podium position. He comes around that corner. Artis Baumanis has got to shut the door now. Baumanis is going to try and send the car. Shigabutinov, what a joker that. Szabo as well. Oh, Shigabutinov's having a look for second. I thought he was going to go up the inside of Szabo. Decides against it. How close for a podium?
I think there might be a move coming from Szabo. He keeps looking, and I think he might have a little look. Is he going to settle for points, or is he going to try and send it up the inside?
He's got Shigabutinov, of course, behind him now as well. Shigabutinov starting him up the curbs. Baumanis has a look as well. The Portuguese crowd going mad. Shigabutinov has made a last corner move. Got past Szabo. Linneman takes it, but it's the silver position for Shigabutinov from Szabo with a pass right up the curbs on the inside. We'll see what the stewards think. I think it's clean.
I'm not sure if there was a little touch on the way in. That's what the stewards will have to look at. Was there contact to open up the gap?
Was there pushing? He might just get a reprimand and be lucky, but yeah, they like that. They do enjoy a good overtake. Crowd right up over the gravel section. Linneman's pleased to take the win. He took the win here last year. Very happy indeed. The car's rolling away down the hill. Be careful, Ulrich. Jumps off. Get back in.
I'm sure he did his risk assessment before that.
Yeah, I'm sure, yeah. So, do you remember Solberg ran himself over once, didn't he, I believe, when he was hanging out the side of a car? So you've got to be careful, you know. Ulrich Linnemann takes 8 points, regardless of whether he runs himself over afterwards or not. He's OK, don't worry, we can see it from where we are. Shigebutinov P2, after a brilliant move on Szabo at the very last right-handed corner before that little run of chicanes to the finish. Artist Baumann is 4th, Navikas and Lipperhalmer, who I'm afraid is sitting three-wheeled deep in the gravel at turn 1. We can have a look, hopefully, at that start again. Here we go, down to turn 1. Andrew Jordan looking at the 2 white cars front left.
So it's Lipperhalmer in the Twingo. He jinks to the outside. He's given him one on the door, keeps it in. Then Szabo's coming in, you know, it's very easy to watch here. You don't know if Szabo's giving him some back, but they got tangled up. It's one of those, get through the first corner. Yes, you want to race hard, but get through the first corner first and then try and source it out. That was Linnemann, very good joker there. You see how much speed he carried in.
I was going to say, was it quick or not? Because it was one of those ones where he's just sent it, and in some ways, tidiness could he have been quicker.
But then there is that dust on the apex we've seen over the last few races. People are dragging dirt on, so whether he's arrived there a little bit sideways, then come over that big patch of dirt.
And sent it. Either way, he got it done. Now, this was the joke lap. I think Shigebutinov, this was an absolutely amazing joke lap. Here, look, as well, Szabo was right alongside Linnemann at that point, so it was really close.
Let's have a look at the green car. Is there a little tap there?
Yeah.
Little tap there. I think that was just a hard move, if I'm honest, but I'm not a steward, so I'm a driver, so I'm bound to say that.
Yeah, you are. Great stuff from the Super 1600s. That's the first round done. We can have a look at the championship standings after qualifying semis and finals. Remember, they score points at all parts of the competition. Linnemann on 27 points. Szabo in 2nd, Navikas in 3rd, Lipperhalmer, both those guys. In fact, 3 drivers on 21 points, Shigebutinov as well. Artist Baumann, Smetana and Saluri. There were 24, I think, Super 1600 cars here this weekend. It's going to be a great championship fight.
Ulrich, congratulations. First race of the year, first win. The crowd loved it. It looks like you did too.
Thank you very much. It has been a really hard weekend. We have done so much work to find the pace because the Skodas is so fucking fast. But yeah, the job is done and the team was perfect. And now my car also was perfect. Yeah, it was a hard final. I have to push every single lap and my spotter told me to push on every corner. So, but this is the best feeling.
Sorry about the language if anyone was offended, but you're very excited. Tell us, this is a good sign for the rest of the season, right? This could be the year.
Yeah, the season is long, but I think this means that we have the pace, and lots of the other tracks is better for me, so yeah, I'm happy. Thank you.
Well, good job by Linnemann. Let's just hope for him that he can have a decent championship fight this year. He was there 2nd last year by just the 2 points. Final for supercars is coming up. We have got a Monster Energy Supercharge Award, as you'll be aware if you've been watching for a couple of years. It used to be the first driver down into turn 1. They've changed it though for this year, and it's all about reaction time. So we use the jump start sensors to measure the reaction time of the 6 drivers in the final, and that means that any of them, of course, can win it, because what's happened in the past is mostly the people on the front row have won. So cars not quite in the pre-grid, it seems, or possibly down there. It's such a short time, isn't it, to re-prepare. I can see Neil Cole running in the sunshine past the commentary box. He's waving at us. There he is. Neil heads up towards the... he's about halfway between where he was and where he needs to be if you're at home, and it's quite a long way and it's hot. And behind him, our cameraman is running as well. There we go. So those guys are going to be hotter, I think, than the drivers who are just slipping into the race suit. And a race suit, Andrew, is not ideal clothing, is it, for a weather like this?
No, I don't think it is. It's very, very hot here. And, you know, last year the rain was terrible, but these cars with all the transmission and the prop shaft and the diffs, it's so hot inside. The dust gets in there, so it's pretty hard work for them. Luckily, the races are only very short, but I wouldn't mind being sat in one. I'd rather be a bit hot and dusty sat in one of those cars, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I could live with it. I doubt I'd still be sat in it now. We're at the final stage. I suspect, you know, I might have finished sometime this morning at the end of Q4, but hopefully, Andrew Jordan, we might see you in the final stage, of course, because you're coming back to race at Linden Hill for Timo Scheider is not here that weekend. You're going to be back in a supercar. I bet you cannot wait.
I can't wait, and you know, the level's going up all the time, so hopefully I think the plan is to have a test maybe in Austria before that weekend. I know the circuit, and it's going to be a really cool event, you know, 50 years of rallycross, the last Linden Hill event, so it's going to be something special, and for me to come and do my home event, you know, I've had a podium there. I think the level has gone up a fair bit, but I'll be, you know, if I could get through to the semi-finals, I'd have had a pretty good weekend, and then we'll see where we go from there.
Well, we really hope to see plenty of home fans there to support you, and of course Guy Wilkes at home at Linden Hill. That's at the end of May, but we're looking at the final here in Portugal, cleaning the screen for Solberg. They've just done Christopherson's as well. Neil Cole's down there, having run all the way up to the pre-grid, and he is with Sebastian Loeb.
Sebastian, you're behind Ekstrom and Solberg, but this could be your chance of a podium, maybe even a win.
Yeah, but for sure we have a lot of fast cars in the heat, with the two Volkswagen and Ekstrom in front, so it will not be easy, but for sure I will push and I will try my best.
And give us an idea what the conditions of the track are like right now.
How the conditions are? It's dry, it's quite dusty, so it will be important to have a good strategy, not to be too close behind another car, and we will see.
Thank you.
Strategy will be important. What are they doing on Solberg's car? A little check of tyre pressures, it looks like, Andrew.
Sounds like they're bleeding them down a little bit, I would think. You know, if they're
two guys there working on it together, it's hard for us to see in the sunshine. Maybe they're just trying to hide it from us. Neil is with Johan Christopherson, who of course is in the sister car. Let's hear from Johan.
Johan, you've been the quickest man on this track through most of the sessions. What can you do to bring home a win?
We will see. I mean, all guys in the final seems to be very, very quick, and especially the three guys around me. So Peter, Matthias, Sebastian, Timmy, and yeah, basically everyone is very quick. So we will see, but I will try my best and hope for the best. I mean, it will be very, very nice to be on the podium, but I take the points what I get.
Thank you. Good luck.
Johan is I think, looking incredibly dangerous for this year. If it wasn't for the stall in Barcelona, I strongly believe he would have been able to challenge Ekstrom for that win there. You know, this is a new team. They've got to get everything together and start gelling, make sure everything's perfect. He missed a joker. These things happen. I'm surprised both him and Bakker have missed one in one weekend.
But with Backwood, we had a radio go down, so, you know, you can't help that sort of thing. And it's easy from the outside to say, oh, don't you know when it's your last lap? There's so much going on, you really don't. But interesting that the team are obviously bleeding some tyre pressure out of Solberg's car there. You could hear them leaking the air out of the tyre. If they're the tyres he's ran on in the semi-final, they'd have come up to pressure, maybe gone over pressure a little bit. So they're, you know, just the small adjustments on the pre-grid when it's very tight on time. It's sometimes easy to overlook those little things, but that could then, you know, if they're too high on pressure, the car's handling could be a little bit off, and it only needs to be a little bit off with how competitive this is at the minute.
Ekstrom getting the car as close as he dares to that jump start sensor. There it is. Ekstrom and Solberg. I can't wait for this. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. Ekstrom running the number 1, Solberg running the number 11. So he just wants to peel one of those off at the end of the year and get that number 1 back. Christopherson and Solberg have won the final here for the last 3 years. Ekstrom hadn't made the final, I think, here until this year, so good to see that he's up there too. And Sebastian Loeb, him and Hansen were looking dangerous. This is going to be an absolutely epic encounter, assuming everybody gets through turn 1 without doing anything silly. Here's the lineup for the final of round 2 of the FIA World Rallycross Championship from Montalegre in Portugal. Petter Solberg and Matthias Ekstrom, our only so far World Rallycross champions, line up together on the front of the grid. Johan Christopherson and Sebastian Loeb on row 2. And at the rear of the grid, Reinis Nittisch and Timmy Hansen. So both the factory Peugeots through to the final. Nittisch there in support of the Audi. Both the VWs. Bit of a shame for Ford not to have a car in the mix, but that's the way it goes.
I think there's going to be some serious strategy here. I would say Ekstrom's going to try and close the gap, go to the joker. Christopherson try and blend out, go behind Solberg, and then will Christopherson try and joker the next lap to cover off Ekstrom. I'm just throwing it out there. That's what might happen. I don't know. But
if you're right, that's pretty cool. We will see. We will see. Of course, there is a plan for everybody until we get down to turn 1 and see just what happens. They're going to need perfect starts. Listen for the engine note. Here we go. Oh, great start by everyone except I think Sebastian Loeb looked like he got a terrible start. He goes backwards. He's squeezing the door big time on Nittish in the background. Loeb though pulls out straight down to the Joker. Ekstrom's gone into the Joker. And of course, straight into the standard lap, Solberg and Kristoffersson.
So the race now, in my opinion, is between Ekstrom, Solberg and Kristoffersson. Solberg will be getting his head down, Ekstrom will be doing that. He's got a bit of clear air, so that's good. He's got a bit of dust. Loeb was the one that made the poorest of the starts, but he's still got into the Joker. Second, I think it was. So are we going to see Kristoffersson go now to try and cover off Ekstrom?
Oh, surely he has to, because if he leaves it too long, then we're going to see the gap close down, unless these guys just go, let's go to the end and see what happens. Maybe they don't want a dangerous merge this close. Down towards the end of the straight, let's see. Wait and see when they hit the brakes. Solberg moves across. Kristoffersson goes on the brakes too. Both those guys and Nittish are all going to the standard lap. And Ekstrom, Andrew Jordan, is already staring at it. Ekstrom wins the Supercharger Award. I think he won it in Barcelona as well.
I think he did.
So incredible reactions from Matthias Ekstrom. Fastest reactions at both the first 2 rounds of the World Rallycross Championship.
So at the minute, it's 3.2. Ekstrom is behind Solberg, and that is about as equal as it's going to get. Kristoffersson being tucked right behind. I wonder if these two now are trying to get going, get open the gap, because at the minute, Kristoffersson hasn't got enough to cover off Ekstrom. But is he being held up?
I think he is being held up. Kristoffersson has got to get out into clear air, surely, down to the other straight. Solberg's really Solberg. Solberg's got a rear right puncher. Solberg's gone. Kristoffersson now. Solberg, surely. No, Petter. So I think Petter should have stayed on the standard lap there to defend from Ekstrom, and that would have given Kristoffersson a chance.
There's something coming off the right rear.
Yeah, there's loads of smoke off the rear.
Ekstrom's got this at the minute. He's 2 seconds behind. That's more than enough.
Although it's not very friendly tactics, if Solberg had stayed on the standard lap there, he would have held Ekstrom up for a couple of seconds. That might have given Kristoffersson a chance to break away. You can't maybe think that quickly.
I think that was a quick reaction from Petter in the car. He didn't want to go that route. But Ekstrom again, he necessarily haven't had the fastest package this weekend. The VW, I'd say, over a lap has been quicker.
They're going to joke Nittish surely to get him out of the way of Ekstrom so he can try and make us some time. They don't. Nittish goes with him, but then Nittish has been very quick here. Solberg comes past the commentary position. The smoke still pouring off the back of the car. He's P6, but he's still going. Kristoffersson from Nittish, from Ekstrom. Where's Kristoffersson going to end up? Because he's Loeb now catching up.
I think Loeb's going to go second. I think Ekstrom and Loeb are going to come through. So as Solberg held Kristoffersson up in those first couple of laps and cost them some time. But look, Loeb's challenging Ekstrom here. This could all still get a little bit racy.
Yeah, got it, definitely can. Kristoffersson's looking untidy at the front as he nudges the bollards there. Less tidy than we've seen him all weekend. He's desperately pushing
there as well. So Kristoffersson could see himself dumped out of the podium position after being the pace setter all weekend.
On the brakes again, down towards turn 1. Nittish dives out into the Joker lap now. So where's Nittish going to come back in? I think he's going to come back in behind all of those cars. He is. So Nittish drops down into P5. Solberg still P6. This is about then when Kristoffersson goes and how many of the cars behind him can get past.
It's going to be really close between Kristoffersson and Hansen for the final podium position, I think, at this. The gap is 3.1, and the quickest we've seen is around a 3 second for the Joker lap.
Kristoffersson desperate to try and hold on. He'll get a good points haul either way, but he's actually going to take his second win of the year. He comes past us. Sebastian Loeb is all over the back of him. Loeb pulls out from the slipstream, has a little look around the outside, has a little look up the inside. Kristoffersson into the Joker lap. Where's he going to go? Is he going to get P3? Hansen's going to try and shut the door. Surely between them. So close. Kristoffersson just comes out. He holds onto a podium position. He's just in front of Timmy Hansen, but we're now racing to the line. Sebastian Loeb, the 9-time World Rally Champion, is right up behind Matthias Ekstrom. Ekstrom rides the curves on the inside, round to the right-hander. Loeb's looking up the inside. He's got the nose up the inside. They ride the curves together this time. Ekstrom on full lock and full power behind. Kristoffersson's got Hansen right up behind him too. He couldn't be closer. Ekstrom takes round 2 of the World Rallycross Championship over the line with Loeb right behind him and Kristoffersson too. The fireworks fly off the top end. My goodness me, that is an emphatic victory for Ekstrom there in defence of his World Rallycross Championship. Wow, that was close.
What a drive. He had this huge pressure, but he just backed Loeb up absolutely perfectly. Some celebration donuts there. Ekstrom, world class, 2 out of 2 wins. But he had to work for that one because Loeb, to me, had more pace there.
But I'm really pleased to see the Peugeots on the pace because I felt at Barcelona that we were going to see the Peugeots again slightly not on the pace as we have done in previous seasons. But But I think they're there. I think the Persians are there. It's going to be an epic year, but someone's got to stop this man, Mattias Ekström. 2 wins in a row.
Wow, what an incredible race, and you got the strategy just about perfect.
Yeah, it was very, very tight at the end with Sebastian. We were leading the Joker race, but the guys in front were pushing like hell, and the very last lap was really, really stunning. Very good job from the team and from Mattias. Yeah.
But it was all over the weekend. He was like getting closer and closer to the maximum pace.
Yeah, we didn't start at the very front, so we were catching up the game, and it's absolutely incredible that we ended up with top spot. Thank you very much. Thank you.
What a fantastic performance by Mattias Ekström. Brilliant job, 2 wins in a row. But the pace between those top cars is looking so close. The Peugeot's there. Yeah, we haven't really seen enough, Andrew, have we, to figure out if this is going to be maybe the Peugeots are less hard on their tyres as they were a couple of years ago. And we always used to see them come on song, didn't we, in the semis and the finals. They'd have a bit more left than the others had got. Ekström came under a lot of pressure there. What would Kristoffersson have done if he hadn't been held up by Solberg? There's still a load of questions. The VWs still look fast, but no one's going to make it easy for them.
No, but if Ekström gets a win on a weekend, he hasn't been on the ultimate pace of the VWs. Everyone's been saying how quick the VWs were, but he led into the Joker. These two, I think, tripped over themselves a little bit. Look, this is all just costing Kristoffersson little bits of time here. Solberg, I think he got the punch through the last corner, whether he clipped the curb, and he had it, yeah, there we go. So it's come off the curb. I would think that's already been cut, and the curb's just finished it off. But a very, very close race. Petter then decides to duck out, get into the Joker lap. As you say, would that have held Mattias up enough to help Kristoffersson out?
Yeah, I think it might have done. I think it might have done. But then, Loeb managed to get Kristoffersson anyway. Would it have given Loeb the win if he
This is it. So, sorry, into the first corner. Look up there. Loeb looking at the inside. Ekström just covering it off. His circuit racing knowledge coming into use again here. Just backing it up. Sebastian gets his nose up the front, but he can't get too hard. He don't want to get too aggressive. But Ekström places his car there. Sebastian can't get enough oomph into the contact. Good, hard racing, but Ekström, world-class, fantastic drive.
Indeed. Look how close they were after the finish to see 5 of the 6 cars like that on the start-finish straight and rolled off the gas. I mean, what was the gap between 2.5 seconds between P1 and P5? That's very, very close indeed. There's Sebastian Loeb. Fans are going to be heading down towards the podium, and we'll be seeing the champagne sprayed very shortly. Fantastic racing in Portugal. What a great weekend. $25,000 fans who I think have had quite a good time, to be honest.
Got some good racing to watch, haven't they?
It's incredible weather
too. And that final just capped it off, didn't it? Through the qualifying race, everyone's a little bit steady because it's all about that race time. They don't want to go too aggressive. They threw that out the window for the final and got stuck in.
Let's see Ekström's reaction. I wonder what we can read from it. Of course, we've got the press conference afterwards as well, where we'll grill him about how hard it was. We are helping him out of the car. It's very kind. Quick chat between those two. Sebastian comes over. He knows. Look, Sebastian knows.
Nearly.
He was right there. Yeah, Ekström says too, he knows. He knows. Sebastian raced very fairly too. He didn't fire him off. On board with Sebastian Loeb then.
So he didn't get the best of start, did it? It spun up a little bit. You'll see he goes to the right and then he realised he didn't want to get bottled up in all of that. Sends it past them, catches Ekström a bit on the brakes. Ekström gets it stopped, kicks a bit more gravel onto the track there. But then it was always going to be a straight race with these guys and the VWs from here on in.
That corner, the left, right there after the Joker lap is actually more pronounced than you think, the way they have to make the cars weight transfer. When they come off the Joker, you think you've got a lot of track, and
it's actually very tight, isn't it? And here I love watching them over the curbs. The weight's just changing direction all the time. They set the car up really early. Ekström a little bit deeper, then that gives him good drive. See, it opens the gap, so the elastic band effect as Loeb then carries speed in.
The visibility too the dust is worse than you think. This was where I think we realised Solberg was definitely gone. but by now the damage was done, and this was what I was saying. In some ways, if Solberg now had gone tight to the lap,
He'd have probably held it. Yeah, he'd have held Ekstrom at the whole way through. You know, it's very hard to overtake.
It would have been a bit. It would have been naughty. I think, you know, Ekstrom wouldn't have liked it at all. But as a team, if they'd been quick enough just to call it, it might have been the thing to do.
And this is Loeb. He had really good pace. Ekstrom goes defensive. He's obviously been told, we mentioned earlier, you can't see a huge amount through these mirrors, so the spotter will be on the radio. I think EKS use a number system of how close the car is behind. So say it was 1 for close, they'd be giving him 1 here who defends, goes middle of the track. Loeb just gets it stopped, a little tap, but Ekstrom gets it stopped on the apex. You've got to just hit your markers, because then Sebastian can't use his momentum on him. And this is where it gets really close. Sebastian here knows Matthias knows it's the last lap. He just needs to park it on every apex. Look, he's going so much slower than he could, but he's getting
up
stopped.
in the corners. I reckon if EKS were using numbers to tell him what the gap was, and it was 1 when you said it was
-5,
yeah.
was it?
It was a bit close, wasn't it? Well, here's the result for the final then of round 2 of the FIA World Rallycross Championship. Matthias Ekstrom wins, takes 8 championship points, an extra 3 look over Sebastian Loeb, who was so close behind him. Johan Kristoffersen in P3, Timmy Hansen, Reinis Nittisch and Petter Solberg. And there were 2.5 seconds between first and fifth. That was super, super close. Unlucky for Solberg. VW get the job done soon, I'm sure.
Johan, that was a very dramatic final. Talk us through it from your perspective.
Yeah, we had a plan, me and Petter, to try to slot in behind Petter and then push as much as we can. We know that the first lap Joker is a little bit quicker, so yeah, we had a plan to push as hard as we could. But I think Petter got some problem on started on lap 2 and 3, somewhere there. So unfortunately I hit him a little bit, but I think he had a problem with the car. But apart from that, I have to say that the team has improved very good since Barcelona. They are developing very quickly and adapting the car to the WRX. So I really have to say thank you to the team. I think we've been very, very quick during the weekend. We just didn't get the result, but we'll bounce back.
Enjoy the podium. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Matthias Ekstrom then on 58 points from Johan Kristoffersen on 44, Solberg on 42. And it's Hansen, Backerud still there despite a bit of a shocking weekend. Scheider, Sebastian Loeb and Reinis Nittisch. But I'll tell you what, that's an impressive lead at the top of the table already. It was just 3 points between Ekstrom and Scheider when we came here, and Ekstrom has done a cracking job there of giving himself a little bit of a gap in terms of points for the rest of the season. Neil Cole's down the podium area, and he found our second place man, Sebastian Loeb.
Sebastian, that was a great final. It was really good to see you battling with Matthias, and I felt like if there was one more lap, you might have overtaken him.
It's very difficult to overtake here, and Matthias knows exactly how to do not to be overtaken. So for sure in the last lap I came close and I was faster than him, so he tried to protect and I tried to go in, and last corner was really a nice moment, but finally he did an incredible job, and it was impossible to pass. But for me, I'm happy to finish second from a final, to be on the podium after a very bad start I had in Barcelona. To come back now with some good points in this weekend was very important for me.
Excellent, thank you, well done.
Thank you.
Massive smile on Sebastian Loeb's face tells you all you need to know about whether or not he's enjoying his time in the World Rallycross Championship. 600 horsepower supercars with four-wheel drive are good fun anyway, but when you're P2 and literally pasted on the back of Ekstrom's bumper, you're going to be having a good time. Great to see the Frenchman with such a big smile on his face. We can go and see our winner, Matthias Ekstrom. Let's see how happy he is.
Matthias, 2 event wins out of 2, but this time yesterday, I guess you were feeling you weren't so confident that you would come away with a win.
No, I mean, rallycross is rallycross. You have to fight until the bitter end, and for sure we have seen a lot of cars being very competitive this weekend that weren't ours. I mean, there was quite a, should I say, big swing from the first round, but we managed to come to the semis, be on pole there, win 1 semi, be in the final, and I just gave it everything I could until the tires were cooking, and then the last 2 laps I was just trying to nurse the car home, and I had a hungry Frenchman hanging on my bumper, but I know Seb, he's a man of honor. I think he wouldn't do anything ugly, and I just tried to keep it neat and tidy and get the win, so for sure I'm very happy.
It was very exciting racing to watch as well, to see such great drivers, great cars in action. But this, for you, must be very good for the championship.
It's always good to win races. That's what we all are here for and we all were dreaming of. But I must say the competition is very high. We have been focusing a lot in our team to just try to take care of the details, as we have the same car from last year. And we can see others have made big improvements. But, you know, in the end, you have to finish to get the trophy, and I'm sorry for Petter. He was really fast all weekend long, and I don't know what his problem was, but I saw he was struggling, so unfortunate for him. But you know, sometimes it will be us, sometimes it will be them, so I hope over the season everybody will have the amount of good and bad luck so we can have a fair champion.
Okay. Enjoy the trophy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great to see Matthias so pleased as well. Ekstrom into his celebratory donuts. Very, very close at the top, but great job by the world champion. Now, what's that done to the team's standings? PSRX Volkswagen Sweden then in the lead. I think they came here equal on points with EKS. EKS in second now on 77. Team Peugeot Hansen up. Hoonigan Racing and MJP Racing are down. Drivers are on the podium. Kristoffersson up, shaking hands with Ekstrom and Loeb. I think Kristoffersson knows there that without Solberg being in front of him, he might have been at least one step further up that podium, Andrew. No fault of Solberg necessarily, but that's the way it goes.
It was interesting on Kristoffersson's interview. He said, I think Petter had a problem when he hit him. So was the puncture caused by the contact, or was that the problem? So, yeah, but Sebastian Loeb in his interview looked like he'd had a blast, and he looked like he really enjoyed it.
He really loved it. I was talking to Timmy and Kevin, and they were saying they'd actually watched some of the TV shows from last year and seen how they felt even amongst their own team, and seeing Sebastian, how much he's enjoying the championship even more as time goes on, which is fantastic. A guy of that calibre to be having as much fun as he is. For Ekstrom, well, that's a big old champion. It's something like 14 points. I missed exactly what it was when the graphics were on, but it was 3 when he came here, and it's that consistent high performance is what gets championships.
Absolutely, and even when you think you're having a bit of a tough weekend, you know, he always holds it upside down, isn't he? To then still dig deep and to come out with the win is a mark of a champion, and yeah, pretty impressive, isn't it?
Yeah, very, very impressive. Here was Sebastian Loeb. So Loeb getting the brunt there of the champagne shower, I think. Oh, there's some for Kristoffersson just at the end. Yeah, good effort, Sebastian. Just saved a bit. One last shot. Great stuff. What a fantastic weekend here in Portugal for round 2 of the FA World Rallycross Championship. Since some close racing, I wasn't sure the Peugeots were going to be close enough this season, but they seem to have closed the gap here in Portugal. The VWs still look ominously strong to me, but they haven't managed to get the act quite together. How long is it going to take them? Andrew Jordan, good first weekend back with us.
Very good, very competitive. The final was a great race to watch, and hopefully I can be part of one soon.
Well, very much looking forward to seeing Andrew Jordan competing, of course, at Lydden Hill with MJP Racing Team Austria. Come and see us there. Can we get another podium for a Brit at home? We'll see. But this, at the minute, is all about Matthias Ekstrom. 2 wins in 2 events in front of a packed 25,000 crowd in Portugal. Brilliant job by him. Our next event is Hockenheim with the DTM. Can Ekstrom do the double there again? It's on in 2 weeks' time. We'll see you there.
It's always good to win races. That's what we all are here for and we all were dreaming of. But I must say the competition is very high. It's always good to win races. That's what we all are here for and we all were dreaming of. But I must say the competition is very high. We have been focusing a lot in our team to just try to take care of the details as we have the same car from last year. And we can see others have made big improvements. But, you know, in the end, you have to finish to get the trophy. And I'm sorry for Petter. He was really fast all weekend long. And I don't know what his problem was, but I saw he was struggling. So unfortunate for him, but you know, sometimes it will be us, sometimes it will be them. So I hope over the season everybody will have the amount of good and bad luck so we can have a fair champion.
Okay. Enjoy the trophy. Thank you.
Thank you.
descansado, certamente apontado por ser terceiro. Grande manobra, desafio a chegar ao final. O homem merece uma grande salva de palmas. Ele aproveitou o buraco da agulha de ultrapassagem, não fazia nem estragou nada, e consegue arrancar o segundo lugar a 150 metros do final. É impressionante, que a corrida que vai conseguir, muito mais rápido, vai ser a segunda maratona. Aí está a salva de palmas para o Nicolino.
He was.